infrastructure is crumbling this evening as the NintenByte Podcast continues its unprecedented rise. In cities across the globe, fans are rioting. The Pentagon has issued a statement describing the NintenByte Podcast network as a pixel-based prophecy. Some say the rise was foretold, others say it's just a really good podcast. We're talking twisted nipples, milk, and a sock puppet who doesn't talk.
It's dangerous to go alone. Watch this.
Welcome to the NintenByte Podcast, bitch.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the greatest Nintendo podcast ever! Yeah!
Is that a Joy-Con in your pants, or are you just happy to see us?
Shut up! Now feel the power. Everyone, do you feel that?
Oh my god, I feel it!
I feel it too, Gamer. What is it?
It's the power of our podcast.
I feel it!
This is rad, NintenByte.
So rad.
Power. Now bask in their glory.
I'm Nintendo Brian. Oh baby.
I'm Thunderstash.
I'm Gamebird Classic.
NintenByte rules.
Let's rock.
Hey everyone, welcome to the NintenByte Podcast Season 3, episode, I think 59. I think Lance, I'm pretty sure it's right. Something like that. Yeah, you guys might notice we're missing a bird. It happens. You should be back next week. Hopefully with all great news. We know there's some good news, but it's up to him if he wants to share it. But what I will say is we have a banger group of guests here today. Oh, I'm excited by this panel, especially because we're talking Zelda today. What a shocker. I warned you guys. Probably we're talking a lot of Zelda the rest of this year. That being said, let's go ahead and get to the one that has Zelda literally imprinted on her skin. Sky Sword Alyssa, how's it going?
Hey, it's going good. We had a couple things happen since I was on last. The remake is real, and they're calling it Reborn. What a way to name that. I love that. It's great. And I have also been reborn because I turned 28 yesterday, so now I'm older. Happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Happy birthday as well.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
All right.
Birthday.
Then another massive Zelda expert who has been touting this remake is real for years. Andres Restart.
What's good?
Not much. It's real. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah, it's real.
I mean, that's the most exciting part because we didn't see a lot of it. The next exciting part will actually see more of the actual game itself.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to. I'll just say I feel like the reason they didn't show that much is because they didn't want to. They like when they first showed Star Fox, they showed a lot, right? I think it's kind of like for the opposite reason, if that makes any sense.
That was like a 1-to-1 remake, and this
right.
might be doing
Like
some different
they were
things.
upfront about the Star Fox thing being a 1-to-1 remake. Them not telling us here, them not being clear about it here. That's not like Nintendo. So like Nintendo's very upfront about things. They don't like expectations going overboard. So they did it in a very subtle, ambiguous way, very intentionally.
Yeah.
IMO. Because I don't truly know.
Yeah, we don't know, obviously, guys,
Yeah.
but I'm hoping we're seeing it in August. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Sandstorm McDowell, the deacon himself. How's it going?
Oh, going pretty good, man.
excited to be here and talk about more Zelda. And to Skyward Sword, Alyssa's credit here. Happy birthday, first off.
Thank you.
And since Ocarina of Time is real, if we can continue to go down the rabbit hole and give me Majora's Mask as a reborn.
Hey, the remake opens the door, man. It opens the door. So and when Majora comes out 4 or 5 years from now, then we'll be like, what's next?
Are they gonna go Twilight Princess? That's also realistic art style. Just
honestly,
now?
I have really warmed up to the idea of an ambitious Wind Waker remake. Like, I know people think that like the art style is like timeless, and it certainly has aged extremely gracefully, especially with the HD version from Wii U. But just imagine if they were to remake it with a new art style with modern tech, I guess 10 years from now, because that's the timeline we're looking at here, 8 to 10 years from now, right? Like, I think we get both, right? But one than the other.
Damn. Okay. Eric.
Yeah.
How we doing?
Good. I'm here. It is Wednesday. It is freaking awesome.
It is. Did we sweep today?
We're playing still.
We're still playing?
Yep.
Sorry. He's wearing a Brewers shirt, so I was like, hey.
3-1.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Eric, how are you doing that when it says your mic is like muted?
Because I wrote it all through Nate's.
Yeah, everything's routed through mine. It's one audio system.
I'm magical.
Oh, it's magic. All right. Someone's body's ready over there. His name is Thunderstash Gaming. Or I guess he just wants to go with Stash now, which, to be fair, that's what we call him 99% of the time anyways. Even in person, he'd be like, Steve. No, it's not Steve, it's Stash.
Yeah.
Like, if we both up to Steve, then I'm like, oh, no, I gotta say Lord.
Yeah, right?
Just because it's unique. You don't have to say it, but it's like, yeah, but literally, he's got the paper. Anyways, tough Stash.
What's up? Busy as always. A lot of Summer Game Fest content still. A lot of reviews. There's not a day that goes by where I'm not busy. I'm happy to be here. A lot of exciting topics. So many things have happened in the last week. Kind of crazy. Oh yeah, and Sonic turned 35.
Yeah,
nice.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Yeah, lots happening, man, and a lot's happening tomorrow.
2 edition
or tonight at 9, right?
Internet edition or whatever. Yeah, Star Fox.
Star Fox.
Yeah.
What GTA was? When is it?
Pre-order?
Midnight? Pre-orders at midnight.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it matters.
Yeah, it's digital.
But
it's I mean, I guess if you're trying to get the deluxe code in the box edition.
Yeah. Steam pre-orders tomorrow. Again, we'll talk about that later, but should be interesting.
$80 of worth it.
Of course, and they had to price it at 80, so then Nintendo still gets all the blame for the $80 price. This is what it is. Although some people think the true version is the $100 version, and I'm like, it looks like a bunch of cosmetics to me. I don't know. This seems like pretty industry norm in the AAA industry these days.
Right.
Anyways, all right. Well, let's go over what the topics are for the audience. So we're going to be talking about some pricing stuff again, specifically with the Steam machine, and just like general industry nonsense with that. We talked about price stuff last week, focused a bit more on the software front. This week, going hardware because we have new hardware available to pre-order as of tomorrow in this game industry. So we'll talk about that. Going over Ocarina of Time, a little bit of inspiration from one of Andres Restart's videos, just an idea that he had that he threw out there about Nintendo fixing some stuff potentially that he thinks would be potentially better. And maybe some of us have other things we think could be potentially made better. Go over that today. Plus, one of our moderators sent a really interesting idea for this game that could also go along with the fact that they're being very coy and not showing much of it. Kind of maybe a pipe dream idea, but one that's fun to talk about in terms of what direction this game might be going in. So we'll get into that. We're going to talk about retro studios, just in general, the future of that studio. because their last successful game was in 2014. I know. I'm just, that's some thoughts. I know. Save it, obviously, because I know what you're going to bring up, and that's an important part of the conversation with retro. So it's gonna be a really good conversation because it's something that's kind of been on the back burner since December, and now it's like, all right, let's actually dive into what's next for the studio, and then a dealer's choice if we get to it. If we don't, it's whatever. We'll just do a Q&A at the end like we normally do. All right, guys. Who wants what? Now, Stash, I know, already called when he's doing the Steam Machine pricing topic. We maybe even get that out of the way first. Eric, which topic would you like of the other two?
Do the future retro.
Cool. Leaves me with Ocarina of Time. All right. Sounds good. All right. Stash, what are we talking about, man?
All right, guys. So, yeah, a lot of people were anticipating the Steam Machine price finally being announced and figuring out what all the details were going to be. And then, of course, all of these reviews dropped as well this week. And it's been very interesting. For those who don't know, pre-orders start tomorrow, June 25th, 10 a.m. It's a lottery system where you had to go to Steam's website. You choose if you want the 512 gigabyte version, which is coming in at $1,049, $1,049, 512 gig, no controller. You put your email in on that. Or if you want the 2 terabyte, which is the other option, and that comes with a controller and I think 2 like faceplates for the Steam Machine. That's going to be $1,428. And again, this isn't including tax. So this is not the out the door price. You're still going to have tax and I think shipping. I can't recall if when I bought my Steam Deck OLED from Steam earlier this year, if it had free shipping or not. Guessing it doesn't, especially with pricing these days on shipping and fuel prices. So yeah, the get in price is $1,049. So first off, let's just start there. I got a couple of questions I want to pose to you guys as a group. What do you think about this price tag? Did it come in higher or lower than you thought it was going to? And whoever's prepared to give an opinion on this can jump in.
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick here. I thought it was going to be $1,000, the cheapest model. It's a little bit more than that. If you do a price comparison of the components compared to like trying to build a PC, it's got about an $80 premium over just buying components off the shelf, but then you get the benefit of not being power restricted, as the system technically is power restricted. I think that that's the thing. Like a lot of people are upset at the price and laughing at it, but this is the modern world we're in. Like I'm a tech enthusiast. I'm well aware of what it costs to build computers all the time because I'm always paying attention. So when they announce the price, I'm like, well, yeah, that's pretty much what they're paying to get the thing made. So, I mean, Valve even came out and said things like, dude, this is what's wild. They have no contracts for RAM.
Saw that.
At all.
I saw what they said too. The quote, they're like, yeah, if we say no, like they tell us the price, they say yes or no. If we say no, they'll never talk to us again.
Which
sad.
What they say, and they could say that because they probably already had this happen. They've already limited their RAM supply by saying no to someone, and now they can't get as much RAM anymore. So
yeah, just because we respect them doesn't mean the RAM manufacturer gives a shit. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, we don't care about you. How many are you going to sell?
The volume's not high enough, so the money's not good enough for them. That's what it's all about. So, and that's the thing, guys. Like, yes, Nintendo and Sony pay less for their RAM because their volume is higher, so they get better long-term contracts. They can't even get a long-term contract. They can't get a short-term contract. It's literally month to month. That's what Valve said. They come to them every month. They say, this is what it costs. Here's the money we got. You better say, yes. Otherwise, you're just not going to make these things at all. That's the state of the world we're in now with tech, though. RAM obviously being the thing hit the most, but storage is being impacted. We've seen the micro SD express card prices go up. So it's a lot. And even like GPUs have started to go up because, again, they use RAM too. RAM is used in a lot of different products. So I feel like the price is fine. It's just the problem they have is PlayStation. PlayStation, unlike Valve, can subsidize their system because they have a closed ecosystem that guarantees they make money off anything you buy. Steam Deck can't guarantee that, or Steam Machine can't. Neither can guarantee that. So they can't really subsidize their system and sell it for a loss. So the problem with that is it's less performant than a base PS5, and that's just even at inflated prices, $650 compared to $1,000. Comes with the controller, by the way, for $650 and a free game. Take a look at the demo. Well, it's not really a demo. It's what they had available at launch. Astrobot, right? Not the big game they released later, the one before it. So
Playroom, yeah.
Playroom, yeah. Astro's Playroom. Thank you. So it's one of those things that I feel like that's the problem it has. And I understand that it's a living room PC. So the idea is it's supposed to be almost additive to a PC gamer's life to just not have to. You can have your big expensive gaming rig, but you probably don't have multiple of them because they're big, they're expensive. So you have this, and it just plays games good enough for your TV experience. So I think that's their selling point, I suppose. I think, I don't. They might sell out because, again, I do think the price is in line with expectations of current PC hardware. But I think if they sell out, it's just because they barely made any. And I think they're going to continue to barely make any because it's not really the idea of this being a big ticket item for them. I think ended the moment that all the RAM prices and everything went nuts. And I think at that point they kind of conceded that, yeah, all right. To be clear, though, I think for Valve, I don't think the hardware matters. I think it's all about SteamOS.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The hardware is just a means to show it and get SteamOS in front of more people. And then hopefully people start to install it on other computers and other devices. So I think that's really their long haul play. But you got to get it in front of people. And now you can't manufacture enough devices at a good price to get it in front of people. So it's like, it's really a kind of a crappy place for Valve, who I do think was trying to disrupt Windows dominance.
Yeah, I think so.
So one thing benefit to Windows that it's being stifled right now. So happens.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like they're in a really bad spot. This is like the worst possible time to release this console, and they've been forthcoming about it as well. They're like, hey, dude, we're not happy about this either. We did not want to release it at this price. That was not the game plan. You know, they want it $750. That was the plan until things spiraled out of control. The price of RAM, especially components, but RAM especially. And it's just like, man, this sucks, dude. This is unfortunate, but I think it's pretty cool. Like you said about the, SteamOS 2.8.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading how Valve's working with NVIDIA to get the video cards performing
that's the big
optimally. Yeah, because for me, I was thinking about the Steam machine because it's like I bought my Steam Deck OLED January. I got the 1 terabyte for $519 from Steam. Today it's worth $949. So I'm like, I don't need another handheld. I literally use it in docked mode because I'm recording footage for game reviews. So I could flip this and just get the Steam machine, but then I'm like, but my graphics card and the amount of RAM that I have my PC is better than the Steam machine. My 2023 PC is better than the Steam machine. So I'm like, what if I just wait and I could do a dual boot with the Steam OS when it comes out, later this year when NVIDIA and them work together, and I can just dual boot into Steam and record my footage there. have it saved onto my external 26 terabyte hard drive, pick it up from Windows, throw it into Photoshop, Premiere, I'm good to go. So that's my game plan now, by the way. That's what I'm going to do. But I was considering it, but that price tag and the performance, like base PS5 is performing better. Have you guys all seen that? It's like, shit, really?
Mm-hmm.
This is not a good spot to be in. It's like kind of in no man's land. Like, who's this for? Yeah. And I get who it's for. Like, I get the people that want to play on the couch. I want to play on the couch. I hate sitting here to play a game when I'm editing in here. Like, once I'm done doing all the edits, I want to leave this room, and it gets really hot in here in the summer, no matter how much you run the AC. I want to leave this room, go in the other room and chill and relax and play. Not being here. So I totally get that. I'm that guy too, but shit, man. I'm not that guy for $10.49.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Who is?
Valve, you want to send me one, cool, but I'm not gonna buy one. I had debated if they priced it like I'm like, if Valve wants to be a disruptor, you come in at 500 and you say screw all you. I mean, undeniable value of that would really disrupt the market, but why would they when they can't get the components to sell it anyways?
Right.
That's like a huge thing. They can't get the components anyways. So it's just literally going to be like, I think if it sells out and stays sold out, I think it's just a lot of people just collecting it because they don't think there's going to be very many of these out there. So they'll just have a value over time as a collection thing. Kind of like the old Steam Machine hardware that released a long time ago. Those various different Steam Machine PC boxes, they have a ton of resale value because there wasn't a lot of them.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like, what, 12, 15 years ago, something like that?
It was like 2012 or something.
PS4 era.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was just like, man, that's the way it's going to be. It's the way it's going to be. Because I don't really have any more thoughts on it because I think this is just the state of the industry. I do think that it does kind of throw out there that PS6 and Xbox Helix are going to be expensive.
Oh yeah,
that's what I wanted to get into. Is the lowest ramifications?
The lowest models might not be $1,000. Like I could see because they could subsidize a bit with the shops and they sell for losses. That maybe they come in at 700, 800. That's still.
Well, so the PS5 Pro is $849, right? Right now?
No, I thought it was 900.
I think PS5 Pro is like 950, isn't it?
Dude, it's hard to keep up unless you're genuinely interested in buying it. Like if I'm not genuinely interested in buying it, like I'll eventually the prices will start to blur together for me.
Yeah. And
then you have to ask, like, how much is it with the disk drive too?
All right. Here's the current price right off their website.
Okay, I see.
So PlayStation 5 Pro, $899, so $900. The PlayStation 5 Digital is $600. The 1 terabyte standard edition is $650. Yeah. And then you get refurbished land. So
$899, and then if you want the disk drive, it's $80. So out the door tax you're at like $10.50.
Yeah. If you want one that plays physical games.
Yeah.
But how do you release a PS6 that's like I personally think they're staying on track and are going to release it next year for a variety of reasons. A lot of them going into the legality of it with contracts, but how can you release a PS6 that is less than the PS5 Pro? Like, to me, it has to be more, right?
Well,
that's just logical.
They'll just discontinue the PS5 Pro. It won't even be a conversation anymore.
So does it take that SKU? $899?
No, I think it'll be $799 because it's going to be releasing at a time that I think the market's a little bit better than now. And on top of that, I think there's that whole, hey, do we really want to be almost double the price of Nintendo for our cheapest model? Yeah. Like, we were trying to get back into Japan, and we can't do that if we're charging double Nintendo. Like, that's just not good. And it's probably not going to work at 800, to be clear. But then if
Why not?
everything is super expensive, it's like, well, okay, then that's just what it costs. It is what it is. There's only so much they can eat. Like Sony's margins are not like Nintendo. There's only so many losses they could eat.
Mhm.
So it's like, Nintendo, if you guys don't know, Nintendo podcast here, they talked about in the past how like when they're looking at the pricing and they raise this $50 increase, like this is not the amount they needed to increase to fix the problem. They actually need to increase it more, but we're willing to eat even more losses to try to keep this thing viable in the market. But Nintendo can do that because they had a 25% profit margin. And guess what? They're eating even more losses now, or they were at a 15% profit margin. So this $50 increase, all it's really going to do for them is bring some of that profit margin a little bit back up. So yeah, I think that I'm going to be honest. If I'm Xbox, because Xbox is Helix is like the thing that's already announced. PS6 is technically not enough.
Dude, they got shirts out for it. They already got t-shirts out.
And they said they're going to reveal more on Helix later this year. It's clearly launching next year. Helix, no matter what, it's launching next year. If I'm Microsoft, I don't think there's any way you get back into this industry at all with hardware. The only way would just to be fuck it. We don't care about money, and we're just going to sell it at 500 and undercut PS5 massively. That's the only way you'd gain ground.
Only way.
And their CEO is not going to let them take those kind of losses. So it's not even realistic. It's not going to happen. So
they're cutting studios. They're trying to save money every single place they can, and places maybe they shouldn't be.
Yeah. And Helix is basically a Steam machine for Windows.
Yeah. And people don't like Windows.
It's a PC
people like Steam. PC gamers like Steam, not Windows.
Yeah. And here's the thing for a Steam machine. Microsoft's not going to have a problem getting components, and they could probably undercut you.
Yeah.
And their system's probably significantly more powerful.
Yeah, I think so.
And if
I
that
think
Windows,
that's what they're trying for.
Windows experience bridges that console to PC gap better than people think it will. We'll see. We don't know. We have a little bit of it on Xbox Ally X, and it's fine. We need some improvements. By the time Helix comes out, those improvements will probably exist. At least you hope, because let's be honest, I think the future of Xbox is pretty much set in stone. They're going to be splitting off and sold or something. But if there's any last-ditch effort, it's Helix. So I do think that this actually, if I'm Microsoft, I don't think that you get much market share back. So then what you do is you focus on the PC market and you launch a $1,500 device that just shreks all over the PS6, shreks all over everything because it's a fucking PC. Fuck it. Stop trying to go for the cheap end market that doesn't exist anymore because you can't get components that cheap anymore. Go for the super high end.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it might take like $2,000 to build a PC that could actually be as powerful. So it'll feel like a good deal even for a PC gamer. So just throwing it out there.
I just feel like though, if I buy
think they should do, I don't think that's what they're going to do.
If I guess the reason I like it is just like when you say $1,500, I'm like, man, that thing really better blow my socks off. Because like remember when we were little and the next generation console actually meant like a significant leap.
Yeah.
But that's not a thing anymore. So like when I see the $1,500 price tag, I'm like, oh, like my brain's like, it gives me that feeling that, oh, maybe that's gonna be the leap, right? It's not gonna be, it won't. It's just not possible. But
you hear 1,500, you're like, that sounds insane. Well, okay, if they're charging that, then this must be fucking insane then, right? Especially if
the problem here's the problem though, it's not gonna be. Because people are going to share Twitter compressed comparisons, and it's going to be like, see, it looks the same. Like, I'll just play it on my Switch Lite or my Steam Deck or something.
Which is funny, because someone will be like, I'll just play this game on my PS5. I don't need this. You know what you're admitting? Maybe we don't need new consoles.
I was going to say earlier, though, like, I know we're talking about the next Xbox coming out next year, and maybe the PS6. It's already so far into the development that it has to come out relatively soon. But yeah, it would be PS6. Okay, like I kind of feel like because things have gotten so expensive, and also because I feel like I don't even think I've gotten the most out of my PlayStation yet. Like maybe console generations should become even longer. Like they've been getting longer. What if they got even longer? Like the Switch, I was surprised that it was an 8-year generation. I think we all were.
Well-
But now, what if the Switch 2 ends up having an even longer run?
Yeah, I actually think that's just going to happen naturally. Like, I think Helix and PS6 are going to come out, and they're not going to sell very well. And people will just keep buying PS5s because they're cheaper. And they already have one, and they can put their games on it. I think the pricing is just going to create the end of generations coming out every 6 or 7 years. But we'll see. Obviously, a lot can change, guys, in the next couple of years. And I do think of the two companies that might be launching systems next year, despite the contracts, Sony is the one that I think might be willing to wait and push it back to 2028. Just if they know doing that can let them launch it at a more competitive price point.
I mean, what are they worried about?
Sony sells 100 million every generation, so like they are the ones that actually would give a shit about trying to launch at a better time to sell better. Xbox needs to get out before PlayStation and just hope that their console kicks ass.
Yeah, I think too though. Like one of the things, just off of past history, the one thing that really gets me with PlayStation is that they don't ride their own horse. It always seems to be like we always got to keep just like one little eye on Microsoft. Like I don't know if you guys remember, but like leading up to, was it PS5? Leading up to PS5, we would get news from both. And it would be the smallest, like most insignificant news up until the point where they were ready to show off the console. Oh, Xbox has got this. And they're like, oh, PlayStation's got this, but can't show off the system. And then they finally showed off these systems, and they're like systems, basically. They're basically the same thing. I think Sony likes to like fanboys like to beat Microsoft down. Like, oh, you got a new system? Oh, our system's here too. We're right here. We're right here, right when you are. We're gonna be moving right when you move. I don't think they like the idea of being a generation as far as consoles behind both of their competitors, both Nintendo and Microsoft. I think for them, more than anything, it's not even a numbers thing. I think for them, it's like an ego thing. Like, why would we be the last ones to jump to the next generation and our competitors are jumping? We got to be there first, or we got to be there too. Nintendo's already there, but we got to be there too. So I don't know. But I do agree with the whole pricing thing. Just to sum it all, I originally thought the Steam machine was going to be somewhere between 600 and 700. It ended up being, they said 750. I think they still could have sold really well with that. Being at 1,000, dang, that sucks. Because I was even planning on grabbing one of these. You said 1,000, that's not happening. There's also this mindset too. I don't know if any of you guys feel this way as well, but like I'm getting older now. So like me preoccupying, and Stash, you kind of said it, me preoccupying a designated room where like it doesn't allow me to, talk to other people or socialize with other people. It's just hard to do these days because the world is, at least in your own house, is a lot more sociable than what it used to be. So like Steam machine was it. Like that was the next closest thing. Yeah, I can't move it around like a Switch 2, which is now like my primary console, but I could play it at least upstairs. You know what I mean? I could play it around the family on a TV and we could play together. For 1,000, that's not happening. Like, especially like you guys, I have a computer. already to do all that stuff. So it just kind of eliminated the people who were just like kind of on that field. Getting into the PlayStation 6 thing, man, this whole RAM thing is just like it's I think it's absolutely crazy that it just like seems to keep increasing and increasing. And for PS5 Pro to be around, I don't know. I don't know, Prime. I don't know if you I think the smart thing would be kind of like PS4 to eliminate buying it new. Obviously there's going to be used versions, but I still think that even with that in mind, I still feel like they would have to price it more than what the Pro is. Now I don't know if that looks like pricing it more than what the Pro is when the Pro first started. So it's 800 because I think the 750, right? Or pricing it more than what it is currently. I think it makes more sense to do when it first started. So then that way you have, that like Andre said, even though it may not look significantly more powerful, the idea in a regular consumer's mind is you paid more, so the quality is higher, right? So yeah, man. But I feel sorry for Steam, and it's just that was it. That was the thing. That was the thing to like really shake up. And I thought the move was I thought the overall move was insane to me when we were first talking about the Steam machine, because at that time, if you guys remember, like Microsoft already was putting their games on Steam, and Sony had just started putting their games on Steam. So it was like, oh, okay, you guys are using a platform, you don't have to worry about any of that. And then like what, a week later, uh they're like, boom, we got a Steam machine coming to home. And it was like, whoa, that is an ace move. And I don't think Sony and Microsoft expected it. But now you're back up there with a high price, and now it's just like, oh, well, that was a cool move, but unfortunately it's not going to hit the same. I do think it's going to do well. I do think scalpers are going to scalp, and I think some people will grab it. But it's not nearly going to do the numbers that an actual console is. Not even Wii U, and I'm going to be honest, not even Wii U. But will it sell 7, 8? Sure. And I think that's well for what they're actually looking for. Because like you said, I think it's more important that Steam is in more people's minds than the actual system is. Because the market is what makes the money, right? The actual the OS and the shopping and everything. So yeah. Sorry.
I will say this. I think one of the coolest things that Steam does have coming up, though, with Steam OS is just that NVIDIA card support, because Steam OS is Linux, guys. And it already made some advancements for Linux in game compatibility with the Proton layer. But one of the big bugaboos of Linux is they just don't really work with NVIDIA cards. And the community's been trying to fix it for a while, but it just isn't a lot of heavy support from NVIDIA to support it and others. So SteamOS is trying to fix that. Now, is that necessarily going to make SteamOS more popular? We don't know. We don't know what the real demand is for it, because they don't right now. You cannot, like Stash was talking about dual booting. Right now, you can't install SteamOS on a PC. It's not available, but they're going to be making it available. They've said they're going to be making it available. It is available for certain handheld devices. They have expanded it beyond Steam Deck if you want to load it on certain devices. They don't support them all. But yeah, I don't know.
It released today, by the way. SteamOS released today.
It released today? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But the NVIDIA deal, like, I'm not going to go down the dual boot road until everything's dialed in with NVIDIA, since I have a NVIDIA card. I'm like, I'll cross that bridge later in the year and see how it is. Hopefully it's good. But I think a lot of people aren't going to be probably willing to do the dual boot thing.
Oh no.
but enthusiast like myself and others will. Andres, what do you think, man?
I think I'm just not interested in this theme.
This topic. Yeah.
I think it's unfortunate that things are getting really expensive.
Yeah.
It
But
is.
that's just kind of what we have to deal with.
Well, part of this topic, which I guess we'll end it kind of on this point, is that, hey, dude, this puts Nintendo in the bona fide best position
Yeah.
as far as the entry. This is your ticket into video games for current gen right now. This is the cheapest
Switch
ticket
one's
in,
still relevant.
which is wild.
Yeah,
I think it's so
they
cool.
still haven't dropped the price, which is also
Still
wild.
haven't,
Yeah.
which is wild, and we've never seen this before.
They raised the price.
Again, yeah, I was talking with Michaela about this maybe a week or two ago, but I'm like, babe, like, remember, this has never happened. All my years gaming, prices go down over time. They don't go up over time.
Mhm.
You know,
Usually.
this is wild.
Yeah.
And
The PS4 Pro guys launched at the same price as the PS4 was at launch.
it's insane.
Those days are gone.
But for all the drop the price folks, what are you doing with your life now? How do you feel? Please tell me you feel stupid. Please. Please tell me you can look in the mirror and feel stupid about this, because
I think
we all
most of them
said
just
this.
don't
Brian,
care.
you said it too. We all said it though, that Nintendo is going to have the best price. Just watch. Just watch. Because everything around it is going to go up, and then Nintendo's going to have the best price. And then how are you going to feel? But all that time you wasted complaining on the internet and protesting on social media, when you could have asked your job for more hours and made some more money and bought one yourself. Get the fuck out of here.
You broke, bro?
It's not, I think that's wild to me.
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
wild.
Absolutely wild.
And you're getting on
You
the
know-
third. You're getting a lot. I won't say all, because people take that and run with it. But you're getting a lot of the third party games as well too, that we didn't get before. So it's not like you're in the entry level and you're missing out on a whole bunch of stuff. There's a whole bunch of things removed from it. It's like you're getting entry level. You have the option, depending on the game, to play 2-player right out of the box. You can play wherever you want, including on the TV. And you're getting a lot of the third-party content with, obviously, Nintendo's first-party content, too.
The other thing, though, is that if you're going blind, the graphics are just as good.
Oh, yeah.
100%. 100%. It, in Japan, though, like, if you come in at that kind of pricing, you're absolutely cooked, because things have changed. The script has flipped a bit in that, hey, Square Enix, they debuted Kingdom Hearts 4 at Nintendo Direct. All of the Square Enix games that are so immensely popular in Japan, those are coming to Nintendo same day. Like PlayStation, Sony had the edge there, because they had all the Square Enix RPGs. Nintendo didn't for the longest time, but everything's coming to Nintendo now. So not
Day and
only
date.
you not have
Day and
that,
date.
yeah, you
Yeah.
don't have that anymore, but you don't, the pricing, the portability. We all know how big of a deal that is. GameCube had a handle on it for a reason. It wasn't for the American market, it was for Japan. It's because of the size of the homes and the amount of space you have. That's why they made it so compact and so small. Put a handle on it so you can take it from room to room, because you don't have a lot of room. Obviously, Switch 2 continues down that road. It's even a smaller footprint than that. It's very interesting times. Yeah, for people who enjoy all facets of the gaming industry, like we all do it. This is very interesting to see how this is all going to play out.
Did you see the commercial that they recently aired for the Switch 2 where they were just playing like N64 games?
Yeah, actually, I reposted it today, and it was very cool. Very nostalgic.
You would never think that, you wouldn't think Nintendo would be like advertising like people playing N64 games, but they're like, yeah, you can get like the N64 controller and play Mario 64. And they didn't show Ocarina of Time footage, which I found very curious, but they had like they played the Ocarina of Time music and they had like a little like milk jug, right?
The
And then they showed
milk. Yeah.
and they showed Majora's Mask, and then they also showed Donkey Kong 64, and they showed Wave Race. And my brain was like,
yeah,
they got something for all these except for Wave Race. Wave Race remake, here we go.
Yeah. When I retweeted it, I gave a shout out that they, Wave Race sighting. Nintendo's acknowledged that Wave Race still exists.
Well, Switch Sports Resort has like a Wave Race mini game in there, so that's gonna be fun.
I know.
Yeah. But anyway, I was just pointing it out because the Switch 2 I think has better value than people usually give it credit for.
Really does. And it plays that entire Switch 1 library and plays it better, which is a big deal.
Portably, it's a portable system. It's a it's a home console system. It's got co-op in the box, as you brought up earlier. It's getting the big third-party games. You were mentioning Kingdom Hearts, and it's an Ocarina of Time remake.
It's finding ways to future-proof itself as well. Since they just got, what is it, the Lumen? Was it Lumen update?
Yeah. The Lumen update, which I'm excited to see. And, I'll mention this. So I had played Hot Wheels Infinite Rush, which is like Forza, literally like Forza, but in Hot Wheels. And played at Summer Game Fest. I asked about Switch 2 performance because, developer was showing us, he's like, you got any questions, anything that you need to like put in your video or article? I was like, yeah, well, Switch 2. So, I do a lot of Nintendo content on the channel. I have a Nintendo podcast. People will be interested to know, we always are interested to know how's the performance going to be in comparison to the other platforms. And he said 60 FPS and that the resolution was going to be very good. He said, we're going dynamic, but for the most part, it's going to be, without giving you exact numbers, on the higher end of the resolution scale. And it's only dynamic in a few parts, which is obviously you can read between the lines. But again, those are big W's right there for Switch 2 to be performing that well on a new game. But that's on Unreal Engine 5. So I'm thinking they're achieving these kind of results because of that. Because of that update, because that game's coming out in September.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. Like this might be one of the first examples of a game coming out within the next few months that's taking advantage of the Lumen 5.8 and is able to get better performance out of Switch 2 games. So I'm excited. That's the one I'll be reviewing for sure.
Okay, cool. Let's get to our next topic and let's switch things up a little bit. Let's get to our only topic that is about an actual specific game. Let's talk about Ocarina of Time, shall we?
Hey,
Zelda. I think we have some Zelda fans in the audience. Maybe. I don't know. So, we're going to be talking about some various aspects that we really want to see shown in a certain way or improved with the Ocarina of Time remake. Yes, Reborn is a moniker they are using to market the game, but it's not technically part of the title, but it is part of the marketing. And there's obviously some reasons for that technically haven't revealed themselves yet. It's all just guesses and speculation. That being said, I just restarted a video over the past week talking about some stuff, specifically things that maybe could get reverted from the Ocarina of Time 3D version, things that it changed that not everyone thought were great changes, especially to the tone of certain scenes of the game. He can better explain that, though. And then we have additional thing we're going to bring up. I'm going to wait on that, though. So let's talk about that. It's obviously just one example, and maybe we'll start with that because that was on just Restart's video. A lot of us might have other aspects that we think can maybe see some improvements. So I'll just restart. You want to explain what you were thinking this past week, just this idea of ways the game could maybe make some changes from what we've seen in the past?
Yeah. So, initially, like, the idea for that video was born from us finding a provisional Peggy rating for Ocarina of Time, which was Peggy 12. And so there was some discussion, and I myself considered this remote. Oh, does this mean the game is somehow going to be rated teen? But then I looked up that Breath and Tears also had a Peggy 12, and they were still E10. So, I think it's basically non-news. However, there were discussions that were had, and there were considerations that were made, and we're like, okay, well, we look back to the original Ocarina of Time, and back then there were a lot of hardware limitations, so there were just a lot of decisions made that were due to hardware limitations. Like initially, for example, Navi was actually apparently like the initial art was for like a humanoid fairy, like it was supposed to look like Tinkerbell, but they ultimately went for the orb design because that's what worked, right? And now that's kind of become like the look. So now we don't know what they're going to do with Navi in this reimagining, reborn, whatever you want to call it. But to the idea of the video, right? Ocarina of Time, whatever the intent was, what it ended up being was a game that has like these really colorful, bright moments, serene, beautiful environments, but also there's a lot of moments that are very dark and atmospheric and ominous. Use the word foreboding in the notes. You look at the final battle with Ganon. When he transforms, he's silhouetted, right? You can see details, but you can't see all of him. And it was a very cool, moody look. And what was beautiful about it is that it's not that you couldn't see him. You could see him, but it was dark because it was like it was overcast, very, very dark environment with the clouds, but there was lightning strikes. And when the lightning would strike, there would be flashes. And during these flashes, you would briefly see all of his detail right before he strikes down at you. So it was extremely intimidating. It was extremely atmospheric. Like there was a really cool, epic, dark, electric mood there, right? The 3DS version doesn't really have that. The 3DS version is more colorful, is more detailed, it's more vibrant. And I'm not saying it's a bad version, but in comparison to the N64 original, it loses that mood, it loses that atmosphere. It's not as foreboding, it's not as intimidating. And so something is lost there. And that's kind of like one of the big moments, but there are other moments. Like you go to the bottom of the well. In the N64 version, there is apparent bloodstains all throughout. In the 3DS version, there is not. There's some parts that look muddy, and maybe you could construe that as like really old dried blood, but it's very ambiguous. Or you look at Dead Hand, which is a mini boss in that area. The original version literally has red blood splotches all over. It looks like a Resident Evil enemy, right? In the 3DS version, that's all gone. Like it's still a weird, creepy looking thing, but there's no blood anymore. It's just it's different. You're losing something there. And so there's a lot of moments like this through Ocarina of Time that are very dark, and the 3DS version made it a lot more colorful and bright. And that also is probably due to hardware limitations, right? Because we're talking about a smaller screen, lower resolution. They had to do the 3D effect, which would also impact their potential resolution as well. And so they have to consider that. But main point being is that there was certainly a lot of things lost when they did that remaster. And now that we're getting this remake or full remake or rebirth or reimagining, like we're not quite sure what it is, but what we do know is this: we've seen footage of the game. And with the footage of the game we've seen so far, the lighting engine is on a whole other level. The mood is on another level. Like I think what a lot of people, some people will kind of debate me on this until proven otherwise, but I do believe that the beginning of the trailer is actual gameplay or in engine, because it's a 3D environment that the tapestry is in. Like you can literally see a 3D. It's in a room. It's embedded into the wall. Like you can see that the tapestry is not just a flat PNG file. It's actually like a literal object that's tethered to a curtain rod. And it's in a room that has lighting. That's like it's a dark room that has like maybe like a torch or something that's lighting it. And so there's actually like pretty realistic lighting there, very moody lighting that sets the atmosphere, something more like what we saw with the original version of Ocarina of Time, not the 3DS version. Or even when we take a look at like Young Link, like the level of detail there is going for a level of realism that we haven't really seen in any Nintendo game ever, except maybe Star Fox, and it might even be going beyond that as well. And so when I take a look at those things, my thought process is that they are going for a more realistic look. They're going for more realistic graphical effects, which includes lighting. And so when we think about those moments, like with the final Ganon fight, where there's a dark silhouette, where it was very, very darkly lit, but they were going for kind of like a realism there, right? And the 3DS version kind of tried to reverse that, just made it like super bright and colorful, which is actually a trend we saw with a lot of Nintendo games throughout kind of like that era, like the Wii era and stuff. They went for bright and colorful because that's what looked good. That's what their hardware could do. They couldn't go for realism because it would just look like garbage, but that's not the case now. Now the Switch 2 is capable of a whole bunch of realistic AAA games that look great. And so I think they can pull that off with Ocarina of Time, and clearly the teaser suggesting that that's what they're going for. And so I think I have a real optimism that they're going to bring back a lot of that moody, atmospheric look of the original, but obviously with modern, realistic visuals. Rant over.
It's good. I like that. Skysword, you got some stuff you think they can do better here? So, some things they can fix from the past or new things?
I think they're going to add a lot of things that they had to cut out or reimagine it in the way that they wanted to, that they couldn't do back then. And like one thing would be the music for sure. I personally wasn't so sure that I really cared if it was going to be orchestrated or not until we heard that teaser. Then I was like, okay, I need this orchestrated. This sounds insane. I want to know what all the other tracks sound like. So I think to Andres' point about the lighting and everything, the orchestrated music could also really add to the atmosphere and make it seem more dramatic and more impactful.
All right. Here, so think about the Ganon fight, right?
Yeah,
when the lightning strikes, they'll have like some
like
sort
a
of
symbol or
instrument,
something. Yeah,
like they'll have like a drum or something. So like you really feel like that moment. Like exactly. They could really sell it with an orchestra. They could literally they might literally actually be recording right now or a weekend a few weeks ago with a big orchestra the song for literally the final Ganon fight.
Yeah.
And they might do that for every boss battle.
I can't wait to hear the organ while climbing the steps.
Oh my god. I didn't even think of that. Oh,
a real organ.
So
the kind of organ
good.
that fills an entire like super gothic church. It's like 50 feet high.
You're wearing headphones, you're just gonna be
the spatial audio too.
I've been telling people for a long time now. Please go buy some spatial audio.
Yes, do it.
I got. Well, we all got. The whole crew got some at last year, thanks to a meeting that we had with a company. They actually is really cool. It's like shockingly really cool. Now, not every game supports it or has updates, but the ones that do, oh fuck,
oh man, it changes everything.
Definitely. It really does, and I wonder if people notice that. You know, side note, like I just reviewed the Drifter on Switch 2, and I was using those headphones.
Yeah,
because Michaela was watching a show, and she's like, "Do you want to watch like Resident Alien together?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "You watch whatever you want." Yeah, those headphones. I'm like, "Watch whatever you want," because
Alien, that's fun.
I gotta listen to this.
That show's hilarious.
It's like this game requires me to listen to the story, right? So I use those headphones, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like the audio is just so good, and it's like,
is that the first time
audio? You probably don't notice how good it is.
Is that the first time you used them since PAX? I was gonna say because the problem with the demonstrations at PAX is just like not a great environment to really.
Sure,
it's not at all, dude.
Like, because when we were initially there and listening to it, a lot of us were kind of like, okay, it's not really that much different than normal headphones, but it's just like, well, this is really fucking cool, but it's not like how it's so hard to convey it in a convention, you know. But
I used them on the plane going to Summer Game Fest playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I'm just like, oh, this is so good.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It really adds to Requiem. Like me playing through Requiem, I honestly, if I took the headphones out, I don't think I'd be as scared. But they really sound like they're right there.
Yeah, I
it's
remember
awesome.
laughing like, weren't the headphones like $300 or something? And I'm just like,
Yeah.
no one
Yeah.
buy it.
Something crazy.
And then all of a sudden,
Black Friday.
I use them at home, and I'm like, holy fucking shit!
Mm-hmm.
This is like
They're badass.
Yep.
people don't know what they're fucking missing. Like
No.
$300 for this? Fuck yeah, dude! This is awesome.
I think people don't realize like sound is like one of the most important things in immersion, especially for games. Like but you never notice because most people just like are listening to the same speakers on their, their flat screen TV, so it doesn't really cause any
Which are
dynamic,
terrible.
But like once you hear something dynamic, it's like, where did that come from?
Right?
Mhm.
Music also like really invokes emotion too, so you really feel like you're in it and feeling whatever everybody
Yeah.
else is feeling in the game.
Spatial audio of the
Yeah.
organ going up the steps.
Ugh,
I
chills.
might
I think that
I'll probably
organ's gonna
cry
be huge. Like, so the thing is, because this is gonna be a game is gonna be visually redesigned. Like, we at least know that Nintendo is doing significant redesigns here.
Yeah.
Like when we get into that room and we see the piano, like, or I guess organ, right? Like, the scale of the room may be large. We may see how big the organ is. Like, you just think about it, like realistically, us being able to hear it all at the bottom of the tower, like it actually should be like pretty big,
Yeah.
and also making it big makes it cool.
Yeah.
and epic.
It's like louder the closer you get.
Massive
Yeah.
organs in real
I-
life.
I would
Yeah.
say too,
Yeah.
because obviously Ocarina of Time is filled with like bangers all throughout the whole game. But one of the ones that like threw me off pretty heavy is the first time ever going to the Forest Temple, and you're adult Link, and you do that slash, and then all you hear is hood, 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 and you're like, wait a minute, what is that? Like. You only then realize it's actually part of the song, but you're like, okay, what's going on here? So just even that, even in an orchestrated sense, like now that the technology is there, it can easily sound like your attacks or his yelling is bouncing off of walls in between that spatial audio. So it really
Feel it go
like
through your brain.
yeah, it really is like, okay, these ghosts are really messing with me. Spoiler for I don't know how old game, but they're like it's like that. Is that them or is that me? Like, what is going on here? So yeah, that's gonna be amazing, man.
I mean, it's been 28 years.
28, thank you. Yeah.
I guess it'll be 28 in November.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Technically.
Yeah.
So I will say one thing I do want to happen to this game, because I know a lot of times we talk about scaling, and size means a lot in like an open world like this. I hope they do that for everything. And what I mean by that is like the one thing, and I keep asking this question, is because I think, are we kind of unanimous on the fact that there's probably not going to be any loading screens in this game? It's just going to be
There will
basically
be
straight
loading
through?
screens.
I think they'll still do
think so?
loading screens for the dungeons.
Okay, because
Let me elaborate. Breath of the Wild and Tears have loading screens even in the Switch 2 versions, just because of
Right.
fast travel.
right.
Yep.
But will it be a seamless beat? Yes.
Okay.
We are on the same page. I was just being rude.
So
yeah.
with that,
Yes.
the one time that I think that kind of messes stuff up, and I'm only speaking for like maybe the younger crowd. For us, it probably is not going to matter that much.
Mhm.
Lord Jabu Jabu, like the first time we seen Lord Jabu Jabu, he's not really that big. You enter inside of his mouth, and then you're in a whole dungeon that clearly is bigger than the outside.
Yeah.
To walk right in and out of that seems a little like you at this point in time, if we're talking about scalability, I think he should just be a huge fish. Now, does he have to be 1-to-1 with the dungeon inside him? No, but he definitely has to be a lot bigger than what we saw him
Something
in
more
the
believable.
original. Yeah.
I mean, I think you bring up a really interesting point because I think you could make the argument for even the Deku Tree. Like, it's not, you
Yeah.
know, and so this is actually, I think I think this might be a bigger point than some people realize, because when you kind of consider the implication of going for more realism, they then have to kind of think about, okay, how is this going to look, right? So
Yeah.
some people think that maybe Nintendo's going to do the same thing they did with Star Fox, but that's not realistic when you think about the design of the game. Because the thing about Star Fox, that gameplay style ages well. It's a fairly simple kind of gameplay that you just you improve the visuals, improve the controls a little bit. It feels and plays totally fine in today's era. If you were to do the same thing with the exact same structure of Ocarina of Time, it would look incredibly awkward. It wouldn't feel right in so many different ways. So they literally, like, if they're going to do this right, they literally have to change the scaling for so many different things. Hyrule Field's going to look weird. The Deku Tree is going to look weird. As you said, the Jabu Jabu is going to look weird. They're going to have to make a lot of adjustments, at least from a scaling perspective. At least.
Yeah. They have to. I do want them to keep the silliness of some things, though, right? Like, go ahead and take your time and take forever as King Zora squirms over to the corner. You know what I mean? Like,
he better
1
take even
centimeter
longer.
at a time. You know, you know what I'm saying? That cracks me up every time because he just already seems like a heavy guy, and the noise just adds to it. Right. So yeah, I think keep all the quirkiness to it.
The realistic looking Zora are going to be nightmare fuel.
Oh yeah.
Just throwing that out there. I don't.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait to see my future wife.
Now here's a good question. I guess, to go along with changes, because we got Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which is probably the best looking version of all of our other type of beings in the Zelda universe. Do our Gerudo women now look like the ones that are a little more similar to Breath of the Wild, or they still look like ninja? You know what I mean? Or do the Gorons all still look still rocky in one shape, or do they all kind of have their own little mountainous look between each? You know,
like, do they have individuality?
Yeah.
That's
Maybe.
a really, really interesting point.
Yeah.
I think they kind of have to. Like, I think it goes back to the point of, if you're going for more realism, right, especially with today's modern standard, a lot of things that they got away with then, they will not get away with now. So yeah, they can't just have like 2 different types of Gorons, being Darunia and everyone else. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
The same applies to the Zora. And I think it's interesting with the Zora, because the Zora design Ocarina of Time is very different from modern Zora. So it's going to be cool to see like what choices they make there. Same thing with the Gerudo. I think they got to do something to make them look a little different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because like, especially with the Gerudo women, especially back then, they were all the same, right? You only either got the ones that were in like that kind of pink gear, you had the ones in the white gear with the short hair, and then you had like Naburu and but the ones that you see now, they're kind of similar in different ways, but they all, like you said, have their individuality. And I think there's some things you just can't go back to.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Eric, you got any things you'd like to see updated a smidge or improved? I know you weren't really big into playing the OG back in the day.
No. I mean, I watched you play it, but kind of like Alyssa said, I just kind of hope that they bring some stuff in that they had to cut and kind of expand on the world and kind of make it feel better on that one.
Yes, Alyssa.
What do you guys think about them doing 3 different endings so that it makes the timeline more canon?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. I think if you give a
I
cutscene
think it would be
at
sick.
each individual to show, yeah, I think that makes sense.
Well, the only way you'd get the Ganon ending would be like a few things. One, you suck at the game and you die.
Right.
Second, you do it for shits and giggles to see like, hey, what happens? And then
Right.
third would be like you find out like, oh wait, if I die, I get a new ending, like because how people online communities talk. I
Yeah.
just think that would be a cool little thing to do.
You know, it'd be a crazy thing to do if like there's a fairy that revives you in the final fight, right? But like, I mean,
Sorry, I probably stole your thought. Sorry.
that wasn't my thought.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I was
Okay,
like,
all
no,
right,
they
good,
can't.
good, good.
I thought about it. I thought about it, but I thought no, they wouldn't, because they would change the ending of the game.
Right?
But does it
Majora's Mask not
actually
canon
change
anymore.
the ending of the game? So okay, what if that's what?
I got him cooking over here now.
Well, it's just all right.
This is how his mind works, and this is why his videos are awesome.
I know, right?
So the
Love
thing is,
it.
like, if she did do that, my issue with it is how do they kind of suggest it's two different times? I don't. That's kind of the weird
Yeah.
thing, but maybe they could do some Ocarina of Time baloney. It's time travel, so there's always baloney.
Yeah.
But like, if that happened though, like if there's a point where he falls, right, and they do that, maybe it is intentionally ambiguous. Like, so like maybe this is correct. This is what they do. She does revive you, but she's still alive, but she does give away a lot of life force. And so it kind of sets things up for when she flies away at the end, she dies. And then in Majora's Mask, Link is looking for a friend he's lost, and the game is all about the 5 stages of grief. Like that would be kind of really cool setup, and would also then imply that every time Link dies and a fairy revives him, it's actually like a little bit of time reversal instead. And each time a fairy dies, that is another timeline, which actually is really dark, which means most timelines are a timeline where Link is dead. But there's like that one or two where he survives. That'd be crazy. I don't know if they're gonna do that, but it'd be really cool.
I mean, he had a whole adventure in his sleep. Anything's possible at that point.
That's true.
Valid. Yeah.
What?
All I can think of now is the Legend of Neil.
Ah, here we go. If you guys don't know what Legend of Neil is, you're welcome. Google it. Have fun. It's a great. If you love Zelda, it is great, and it's even better today because it's even more corny today than it was back when it came out. So it's so good. All right, so Stash. Obviously, we've talked about stuff with Ocarina of Time a couple of times. While we have a lot more conversations coming. So I'm gonna do a more pointed question to you here. Is there anything like specifically from the original game you want to see improved?
Yeah. There are some things. I have a little bit of a list. These are things that we, again, as you mentioned, we've talked about this a lot.
Yep.
First time I was ever on the podcast, talked about Ocarina of Time, the remake.
Been years, guys. We've been.
Yeah, this was back in, I think, January 2024 was when we were all on. I said that I truly believed we were going to get a remake on Switch too. And we talked in detail about this.
No.
We had a lot of really good ideas, but what I had said is I want the Final Fantasy VII remake treatment. I thought that would be perfect. Now, I don't know if we're going to get that. That's in a perfect world. What I would really like is the fully, again, orchestrated soundtrack. I think that's a given, though. I really do. I think that's a big one. Or a big ask. I think Nintendo's going to do that. Of course, like I've followed Ocarina of Time extensively in its lead up to the release. We all know that when it comes to game development and how it was back then, is that there comes a point where you just have to say, all right, we got to stop. We have to finish the game. No more delays. We got to get it out the door. And of course, because of that, you couldn't do any patches back in the day. Everything had to be done. It's a cartridge. It's going to store shelves. There's so much content. And again, if you're going to do this, I think you got to do everything you want it to do in the first place. So I think you got to get the light temple in there.
Yes.
You know, there's an entire dungeon where Adult Link was meant to essentially cleanse the realm of darkness after Zelda's capture as part of like the light trial. So definitely have that in there. I mean, again, don't leave anything out. You're getting a chance to do everything you want it to do. I want to see the beam sword. I love the beam sword. I've loved it since the original NES. Who doesn't love the beam sword? I remember playing Ocarina of Time, and I thought I remembered seeing like screenshots back in the day that had a beam sword. And there's like read before that it's actually in the code. It's in the game's ROM. It exists. Why it didn't make it in? I don't know. Maybe it had something to do with the Z targeting and the camera back then, because that was such a big deal. The medallions. What are we doing with the medallions? Let's make some improvements there, right?
Expand the magic system.
Yeah, like the elemental arrows. Let's make these matter, right? Horseback combat.
Yeah, I got to be able to use a sword.
Yeah.
But you know what else? They got to have enemies to fight with the horseback combat.
Yeah, and I expect that.
Fill that field.
That was in early concept art and footage. So again, there's so many ideas that made it into the latter games, like Twilight Princess, of course. I think if you had anything else on the drawing board for Eura Zelda, the 64DD expansion, which of course turned into the Master Quest, but like if there was anything else you wanted to do there and you didn't, because the 64DD had such a very, very short shelf life in Japan, never even making it here. If there's anything else you want it to do, I hope they revisit that.
What do you
obviously think? Hyrule Field, you got to make that huge, expansive, massive. You guys talked about scale. I think that's a given. That's something you absolutely have to do. What else? There was the wind and ice temples. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
So like every sage was originally designed to have a full scale dungeon. And again, due to time constraints back then, they didn't get one. Like so much was cut. It's like, it wasn't just the light temple. So it was the wind, it was the ice. The ice, I think was, if I recall, was shrunk down
Ice caves.
to like the ice cavern.
Yeah.
But these were supposed to be like full dungeons. The unicorn fountain was another thing that was in early promotional screenshots. Like if you guys look at the old screenshots leading up, there was just so many things that you're like, where was this? Obviously one of them being Triforce. That's a big one for me. That's one thing I've wanted from the beginning. We know it's in the code for the game. It was in the Space World 97 demo, which I've played. I've seen it. Obviously, I was not at Space World, but I've played it. I was in middle school. But what are we doing with the Triforce? I think the Triforce, again, talked about it here on the podcast, but I think the Triforce is going to definitely be a focal point in the movie.
It is in the teaser. I don't know if you guys know this, but
Yeah.
that Triforce is not like that's already a showing change in how they're telling the story. The Triforce does not show up on Link's hand that early on.
Yep.
Mhm.
So that's a shift,
Which
a
I
significant
like.
one. Yeah.
Castletown. So originally Castletown
Yeah.
on the market, they're all meant to be like fully rendered in real time. Obviously to ensure the game ran smoothly on the N64 hardware, they did the pre-rendered backgrounds, which I gotta say, like back in the day, those pre-rendered backgrounds looked so good.
Mhm.
Especially when you go to the Temple of Time and the camera shifts and you
Mhm.
just see like the side of the building, right? So many times I just stopped there when I was a kid and just like looked at it like, God, this looks so good. And you know, obviously Resident Evil was doing the pre-rendered backgrounds back then,
Yeah.
and it looked really good too. But this was like, this felt different. So those are all the kind of things. Like I'd like to see things like more tunics, right? More upgrades, more swords, more equipable stuff that has some meaning to it. You don't need to rewrite things, but you know, you could have like some gauntlets or something like that. Is there going to be any climbing in this? I wonder, you know, because before you just had the auto jump. So there's no jump button. So then you got to ask, okay, we're going to have a jump button. Will there be any climbing? Climbing is such a focal point in Breath and Tears. And obviously, I fully expect Majora's Mask to come after Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, boy.
And then after that, what are we doing? Are we going Wind Waker? Are we going Twilight? Are we going to do them all? Like every however many years? And do you add climbing into those? Right? Because that is part of the scale. Part of the expanded scale of the game is being able to climb those mountains you see in the distance. So I wonder about that too, or like, how will the map open up? Because you can take things you've learned that have worked really well from Breath and Tears, and you could apply it here. This is Reborn. This isn't a remaster. I don't believe it's a 1-for-1 remake. I believe this is literally, it's what you want to make it now. You're allowed to do what you want now, Nintendo. You can add everything that you want it in the first place. So there's a chance to rewrite history however you want to do it now. So do you think fans would want to climb mountains? I think so. I do. I think that adds to the scale.
I'll just say, I feel like the hook shot's is a big thing in this game. You, instead of making the climbing like Breath and Tears, you could kind of do a thing where the hook shot has a wide variety of application. And what's interesting, the hook shot's like the first important item you get as you turn into an adult, right? So like that's kind of, and when you turn into an adult, especially if some of your ideas come true where they incorporate some of the cut dungeons, like a wind and ice temple, or maybe an earth temple or something, because they had that in the Wind Waker. Like then there's even more reason to kind of like introduce like a huge mechanic like the hook shot, where you kind of, because you know, like Breath and Tears, they gave you a few abilities early on to start the game that have a wide variety of application. This would be a little bit different because you wouldn't get until you become an adult, but the hook shot, like you could use that to kind of zip around more quickly. Like maybe you don't have normal climbing, but if you can kind of run and jump, you do like the little bit sprint, kind of like Skyward Sword style. But with also a jump button. And then eventually you get the hook shot, which gives you that option to kind of scale bigger areas more quickly. Because it's not just hook shotting onto certain points, but anything that the hook shot can literally kind of latch onto. And me just kind of like thinking more like they made the hook shot, they had the long shot, which just gave you more range in the water temple. What if instead of it being more length, it's actually an upgraded latch? Like maybe it's a hook shot and it upgrades to the claw shot. So the hook shot can grab onto certain surfaces. When you get the claw shot, it's a whole bunch of more surfaces, which then just gives you way more options in terms of clawing onto things and zipping to them. And
I like that. That's a good evolution of the item.
I think too, also, if we're talking about evolution of items with the hook shot, I think it would be really cool if you could control when it zips back. So if you shot at it, instead of it using it as a zipper, if you shot at something, say above you, you can almost use it like Indiana Jones and swing across instead.
Oh,
Mm.
like holding on to it, like almost like if
Yeah.
you press it and hold the button, like
So
if something's flying in the sky, you can latch onto it and see
Yeah,
if it
instead of
can get you somewhere.
retracting. Yeah.
so like a so you are you basically, because you know the grapple hook in the Wind Waker, you're saying like grapple hook. So
Yeah.
we want the
Very
hook shot
similar.
to be the hook shot, the claw shot, and the grapple hook.
Yeah. It's very possible.
The
It's
best of
I mean,
everything.
Yeah,
it could
yeah.
be. I mean, like what if
Maybe
that's
it
like
takes an
another
upgrade.
upgrade? Yeah.
Yeah. Like that would be cool. That'd be cool. And you wouldn't get it till later in the game when
Yeah.
obviously it's required now at
Yeah.
I
some
actually
point.
love the idea of, and maybe instead of adding a whole bunch of new items, they actually maybe simplify the items in a little bit, but each item has a really interesting upgrade path where it's like hook shot, claw shot, grapple shot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of Metroid Prime like, actually, right? In that
Yeah.
sense. And then maybe bombs, it's like bombs, water bombs, bomb arrows, bomb
Yeah.
shoes, right? And that's like a bomb path. Bow, right? It's the bow, then it's the fire arrows, the ice arrows, and maybe more, right? Maybe
Yeah.
if they do incorporate like other dungeons, like what if there's like electric arrows, right? Like that would be crazy.
Yeah,
So
you'd
I
think
think we got
maybe all the
options there.
elements could work for the
Yeah.
bow, and then you got to ask, do you get a bow upgrade? Where the
Oh,
bow's
yeah.
actually better, like
Yeah.
From like
I-
a regular fairy bow to even like you can even do a
yeah, I
long
think we
bow.
look at the things that have been successful or that have been done
Zoom.
with
It's
the other
scope.
Zeldas when it
Mhm.
comes to item upgrades and say, hey, what can we pull from throughout, all the Zelda games, all the things we've learned since 1998? Because, when Grezzo remastered it on the 3DS, we weren't looking at changing anything. We were looking
Yeah.
at, putting in some quality of life stuff, but we weren't looking to do anything else because, we were having Grezzo do that. If we're going to change something, we're going to do it, which is
Yeah.
presumably what they're doing, right? So I think you look at everything that worked, man, and you take all you've learned
Mm-hmm.
and you put it into this, just like we've seen with other games, like with DK Bonanza,
Mm-hmm.
You're taking stuff they learned from Mario Odyssey. It's making its way into that game. We've seen this so many times with Nintendo. So I think you got to ask for that. You got to hope for that.
Yeah.
I want more dungeons, though, man. I want more dungeons. We all love the dungeons. We love the items.
Let me
There's
ask
no
you guys
deal
something.
breakers for me, though.
Let me ask you guys something. So, in Lake Hylia, there's a tree like right by where you would portal in. And on the tree, there's a giant slash on it. If you guys don't know about this, you Google it. It's like a mystery. It's like one of the many mysteries in Ocarina of Time. Like, where is that from? It's like random. There's no explanation. It's like a giant slash on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing like this recent Ocarina of Time run, the N64 version, and so like you see this kind of shortly after the ice cavern, right? And in the ice cavern, you do fight like this ice wolf or ice wolfos. So
Mhm.
my brain's kind of like, could there be maybe story there? Maybe at one, because the thing is, we got to remind ourselves that there's a lot of things that were cut, right? Like initially the ice cavern, from what we understand, wasn't really going to be the ice cavern. So could they have maybe moved things around? Maybe at one point that tree would have made more sense, but because they moved things around, it doesn't make as much sense anymore.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know? So
Which
what
would
if,
add to the lore.
Yeah.
yeah. Like how cool would it be if that slash is explained in this version? Like we learned it's actually from this super crazy ice wolf, and that super crazy ice wolf would be way cooler. That, like, I guess what I'm also saying here is I think every boss should be upped. Like
Yeah.
they should be bigger, scarier, tougher,
Oh, yeah.
epic, more
I thi-
ambitious. Like redesign all of them to be way more incredible. Like Shadow of the Colossus, Dark Souls hybrid.
Absolutely. Because that's how it felt when we first played the game. The first time
Yeah.
we played it, those bosses were massive and it felt that way back in '98. To
Yeah.
have it be the same today, wouldn't
I
have the
think it would
same
be.
impact.
I think it would be kind of dope because we don't see too many. Are those wolfos? Are those what those are called?
Yeah,
I think it
yeah.
would be. I think it would be really cool if, because we don't see too many of the white wolfos. If the wolfos were actually like, I'm going way like pulling now, but if they were actually a people, that transformed into wolves, and somebody got bit by one of them and became, kind of leaning into the whole werewolf idea. And so, like you said, the white wolfos is the one that's in the ice cavern, but this was like kind of his first of transformation here, whether it was dealing with Ganon in some sort of way or what have you. And so that slash is from, that wolfos, and, you know, add rest of the story here. But yeah, I think that would be really cool. Speaking of Hylia, if I can add Stash, I think one
Yeah.
of the most important additions, like over anything, like the most important, like this is number one easily.
What, the water graphics?
Fishing, bro. Fishing.
Hell yeah,
Fishing.
dude. Hell yeah. Let's
Fishing has
go.
become such a big thing in games now. Like having a fishing mini game, or just like in so many RPGs. So many companies, we've seen this over the years. Like one of the games I'm kickstarting, they wanted to like make it a stretch goal to add
Mhm.
fishing into the game. It's
That's
a big deal.
awesome.
Like everyone loves fishing in games now, and
Yup.
Yeah.
I feel like Zelda was really one of the first games to add fishing in as like a substantial thing
And
outside
it's
of fishing games that are based like actual fishing games.
Yeah, and they talk about it being a pastime. Like, you get the music and everything, but I think it would really be cool if they really overhauled that fishing experience. So it's not just like, okay, come in here, get a heart or get the scale. Once again, apologize for anybody who hasn't played the game. But it would be really cool if it was just like one of those pastimes that you really just come back to and just fish and fish over and over again. There may be like another part of the lake that you haven't seen before, or like you can only catch fish in this area at this certain time. Because I think time in the lake moves slow, or in the pond moves slower, right? So,
You got to wonder about seasons too. Will
oh
we have
yeah,
seasons? Will we have all 4 seasons in the game? With Ocarina, it was based on region.
hmm
But in this game, it could literally be, hey, we're going to get all the seasons here. And again, maybe some things are seasonal, right? Maybe certain enemies are seasonal as well, which we've seen in other games. Should be interesting.
yeah,
I want to circle back to the Wolfos thing, because you brought up how maybe they were people, and I just kind of thought about it. It's really interesting actually, because you have the Skull Children, right? Like what story is it like when children get lost in the woods, something happens to them, and then there's the
hmm
Stalfos, right?
yep,
Obviously, they were warriors from some time ago, right? But then you also have the Redeads, right? The
yep.
Gibdos. So there's already kind of like a motif of like
Go in that woods, get messed up.
they're the people once upon a time, people no more, right? So I actually really like that idea. It's actually extremely fitting and feels like a missed opportunity if they don't kind of like flesh that out.
Yeah, that would be sweet. That would be really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only people who make it through are the kids with their fairies.
Yeah.
You guys think we'll get a jump button?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll get a jump button this time around. That being said, I think that makes some of the dungeons look brand new to some of us older gamers who have played this game a million times. Because some of those areas kind of require you to jump in certain, like at a certain angle. And I'm like just thinking right now, just thinking of the Dongo Cavern. where you got to throw the bomb at that wall, but at a certain time. But in order to get up to the spot where you got to throw the bomb, you have to like climb up this ladder with this thin piece of landing for you to jump across. Yeah, I think I think at this point, having that jump button, so you're not going, oh whoa, and falling off the side every time.
Oh man.
Andres, you know the reason why we didn't have a jump button.
No.
No, I think you do.
I
You don't
do.
know why I say that?
Why?
Because I needed to refresh my memory,
Yeah.
and I just Googled why didn't Ocarina of Time have a jump button.
And I made a video about it.
The AI overview comes up.
Oh, I forgot, man.
YouTube/Andres restart. So I'll refresh your memory.
Thank you.
But, we're gonna give all the credit to Andres on this one. So
Old Andres.
Yeah, lacked a dedicated jump button because Nintendo wanted to differentiate the game from Super Mario 64 and streamline controller complexity. Mr. Miyamoto and the development team designed Link to automatically jump when running off ledges to keep the focus on combat and puzzle solving.
That makes a lot of sense. That sounds like something they would do.
Sure does. And to that extent, now it makes sense why it'll absolutely have a jump button, because we're not trying to differentiate Zelda anymore from Mario 64.
No. I'll also say though, I feel like dungeons should be like, I want the dungeons to be new. Like I think like we're talking about a jump button, how that like how adding a jump button alone would impact how we interact with the dungeons, to your point. But at that point, I'm just kind of thinking. Also, we have to scale them up. If the dungeons are going to scaled up, if there's going to be a jump button, if we're talking about like full-on redesigns for things, we're kind of getting to the point where like maybe they should just make new dungeons that kind of have the essence. Like, I'm not saying like completely abandon the concepts of these dungeons, right? But maybe kind of evolve them, like evolve them to the point where we who have beaten these dungeons 20, 30 times will still have to kind of figure it out, because it's going to be new in a lot of ways. Like maybe the Deku Tree, like there's still the core concept of you have to get very high up and use the gravity to kind of break through, right? Like maybe that's still a thing, but kind of how you go about doing that changes, right? Maybe with like the Forest Temple, it is still ultimately about interacting with the portraits, and getting through these mind-bending puzzles, and collecting all the Poe sisters together to get to the boss room. Like I guess my point is like still kind of carry that the atmosphere of them, like the feel of them, and like that core hook, but the manner which you go about doing it is kind of wrapped with like new modern day Zelda mechanics.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, like a reimagining of the temples, of the dungeons.
Are we getting too ambitious here though? Like the more we talk about it, like are we? We're basically asking for a new Zelda game, like
Zelda Reborn, like a Zelda Reborn Ocarina of Time.
You got to ask though, like, why are we doing this? If you're Nintendo, why are you re-releasing the highest rated game of all time? They know they can't come to the table with the same exact game. I think bare minimum, you got to put in the content along with the fully orchestrated soundtrack. Those modern things you would think we would get. But you got to put in the content, and then when you put in the content, then it's like, well, if we're gonna add this stuff, now the medallions need to mean something else. Now the elemental arrows have to mean something else, and then before you know it, you're kind of in deep with development. You're like, well, we need to change a lot of things actually if we want to make this the best game of all time again. I gotta believe Nintendo wants to challenge themselves to try and reach that, even knowing that it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard to do this again. And there's going to be a lot of people watching and judging. A lot of people in the video game media looking at this with a very judging eye going into it, thinking that they can't do it. But if you're Nintendo, they're competitive, man.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta imagine they're all pushing themselves as absolutely hard as you can and working probably crazy hours to make this happen, to make it special for everybody.
We've heard
So the young kids understand what we felt back in the day, and for us to feel like, like we did back in '98. If you can do that, you won.
Facts.
$70 game.
I'm not even going into this conversation. No comment.
Oh, maybe we could just talk about the retro thing before I have to go.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up, because I haven't really said anything. It's just this idea that moderator Joyce J messaged me about, and I'm like, okay, I don't think this is what they're doing, but it's kind of neat and could explain why they're not showing like anything yet. So she said, what if Ocarina of Time Reborn is Link being reborn after Zelda sends him back to live his childhood? Well, she says, stay with me. But as we already know, Link tells Zelda about Ganon as a child and that this is actually a new story.
Dang, Gina.
It takes place in a timeline we know exists, but we don't actually know what the hell happens after that moment.
The butterfly effect is real.
It is something we know happens, but we don't know what happens after because it's never.
Well,
explained.
you kind of see that in the original.
Get adult Link. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Well, I guess the idea is that Link doesn't go back in time to right before he goes to talk to Princess Zelda. The idea is that he goes back to like before that, like before the adventure starts.
Yeah. So
it's like before he's born.
Like, look, I'm not going to say that they won't do something like this. It might not be this exact thing, but the idea of doing an original story, considering that there's a 3-way timeline split with this game, it's not like a completely far-fetched thing.
Yeah.
Obviously we saw Final Fantasy VII remake with the 3 games, throw some original story elements and stuff in. I do think that they could do this. I think it's extremely unlikely that this is the direction, because I feel like this would also be the riskiest direction to go, but also one that's kind of like also super exciting, because then this basically is a brand new game.
Yeah.
And that is kind of exciting to think about. Like, hey, we're going to see the world of Ocarina of Time with all these graphics and stuff that we want, but we're actually doing new shit.
Yeah.
So then it becomes more like a Link Between Worlds.
And I'm okay with that, though. It's not going to be that. By the way, this idea is just a one-off idea, but I think it's kind of neat. Like this,
I really like Link Between Worlds, for the record.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, the way you said it sounded like you weren't that enthusiastic.
No time.
I just
might be that shitty game.
I mean, a Link Between Worlds might be. I don't know. It's definitely
good. It's like really.
It's
good
very
game.
good. It might be a top 10 Zelda game for me.
It's good. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just something to throw out there to see what you guys kind of think about this idea of them even attempting to do this. And yeah, it could explain why. One, massive changes at the beginning. Link's got the Triforce literally on his hand already. That's not a thing that's in the original game. Well, maybe because the Ocarina of Time already happened.
It'd be so funny to go through that and talk to everybody and them talk to you like it's their first time talking to you. And you're like, no, I've talked to you before. Like, we've already had this discussion. Why won't you listen to me? And you're like, sorry, little boy in the green. Right.
Another thought that comes to mind, though, right, is that the game's called Ocarina of Time. Like, obviously, time travel is a core mechanic to the game, but I wonder if maybe they could have done a lot more time travel stuff, but were, due to hardware limitations, it wasn't really plausible. But now
Yeah.
it is. Like, so if we're talking about them reimagining a lot of elements here, what if they incorporate time travel to a more significant degree? I mean, with Majora's Mask, you were actually time traveling a lot more than in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
So
I would say this too. Now that you said this, because I don't know if I said this the last time I was on the channel, but one thing that always struck odd to me, is like out of almost all of the Zelda games, this is the one where you see Ganon doing the least like bad stuff. Like you only see the effects and you hear about the causes, but you never actually see him literally do bad stuff. So it's like, is this man really bad, or did he just make bad choices and now he's at the top of the world, as the king? And so I would actually like to see what actually happened between those 7 years that I was gone. Just don't flash me
I really want to
right
know
to the
too.
7 years,
Yo, I think you're onto something. Because right, like, so there's a war that takes place before, like, when Link's a baby, or like around that time, right? And Link's
Mhm.
mother flees, right? She flees to the forest and is dying, right? And so she leaves the boy with the Deku Tree, right? Maybe she dies because she escapes to the woods. I'm not sure exactly, but she dies, right?
Yeah.
There was a war. What if we learn more about that event? What if Ganondorf plays a role with that? What if Ganondorf is the one that like I mean, I don't think Ganondorf killed the mom, but what if Ganondorf killed the dad? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. He's out here
like,
hunting babies because he knows. He knows that there's a prophecy.
yo,
Obviously from his
that's
witch
actually
parent.
really, because the thing is, now there's a tapestry that's literally a boy. Like, that's like that's a prophecy, right? Like, so what if, what if the witches? Because the thing is, the witches, Kotaka and Koeme, they could, like, be like, hey, there's gonna be someone that will oppose you, and so
Yeah.
he's like, well, I'm not gonna let that happen.
Yeah. You're gonna be king. You're gonna be king. However, there is a boy out there. We need to go out there and start killing these little Hylian boys. Like house by house. Immediately.
This is very, like, there's like multiple like fantasy like novels that where this is a common plot point, where the evil warlord king has heard of a prophecy of a young boy who will eventually come to take him down, so he just hunts them all down
Yeah.
and kills them.
Yeah.
But there'll be one that survives somehow. Yeah.
When I was a kid, right, playing Ocarina of Time, I think one of the most interesting parts to me, remembering back to the first time I played it, was when you're at Hyrule Castle as a kid and you see Zelda and you see Ganon through the window.
Yeah.
You see him walking, and then you see him like kneel down. Yeah. It's so ominous. Like, I still remember perfectly thinking like, oh my God, like there he is,
He's got that smile at you.
Yeah, and then it kind of breaks the the fourth wall or whatever, and like he looks right at you, and you're like,
yeah,
whoa. Back in '98, it was like, well, this is crazy. But I think I always wanted to know so much more about Ganon, and even going back to the Zelda cartoon. Like, I wanted to know more about Ganon. Ganon was so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know about Link, we control him, we know everything about that. But what's with Ganon? Like, why is he like this?
Yeah.
I want to know so much more, and I do really hope we learn about that. That's such a great opportunity.
Because it felt like for the most part, it felt like if we were looking at the war and everything, obviously they were a part of the war, and it seemed like he was trying to fight for his people. which is cool. I love the idea of that. I love the idea that this man Ganondorf is like a real king trying to look out for his people, and the Hylians are like, nah, we're not helping you in any kind of way. You don't rule under us. You know what I mean? And so they kind of get that back end of the stick type of deal. And so he does what he has to do in order to be, thrive. But I like it. I like the idea more that he's already a king that is willing to do whatever, and it ends up corrupting him to the point where 7 years later, this man is standing at the top of a destroyed Hylian kingdom, and he is all about power at this point in time. But I want to see you get there. Show me how you got there.
Yep.
Just yeah, I know you do. Just to kind of tie this in a bit to Joyce's interesting idea, I've theorized that like we might see the King of Hyrule. Like,
Yeah,
actually,
you literally right on my head. Go. Sorry.
like, and I've always wondered, like, what if that narration voice at the beginning is actually the king? And the king's
I would
actually
love that.
And the reason
He's
the king's
telling the
alive
story.
is because we've already done Ocarina of Time, and we're in the timeline where Ganondorf doesn't win.
Yeah.
The king isn't defeated. But something else happened. Obviously, here's the thing. Stopping Ganondorf is still going to be a struggle.
Right.
But the way in which he took over can't happen because you know ahead of time. So there still could be like this huge adventure that happens and he loses. But it's completely different from the original Ocarina of Time because he obviously in Ocarina of Time he won at one point.
Mhm.
That was the whole thing. He wasn't stopped. Well, now he's stopped, but that doesn't. It would just change the entire vibe and tone of the game a bit to something else. Which, again, this is why I don't think they're going to do it because it's super risky, and very unlike Nintendo. Of course, this entire game is very unlike Nintendo.
Yeah, it is. The idea.
The idea of from the ground up, realistic graphic remake of Ocarina of Time actually being a thing Nintendo was willing to fund is insane.
Yeah.
It's not what, Nintendo hasn't done this for anything else except, I guess, Metroid, maybe the remaster.
Yeah.
But even
Well,
that's
Star
a remake.
Fox.
And Star Fox, sure. But Star Fox is also like pretty close to 1-to-1.
Well, I mean, they
Besides extra cutscenes.
so okay. You're talking about reimagined stuff.
Well, I mean, yes and no.
Because you have Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which had Future Connected, you know, like another 20 to 30 hour campaign thrown in there, right? It was technically a remaster, technically, because there was still like some artifacts and stuff, but it was made to look like a modern Xenoblade game. We have less ambitious remakes because they're 2-dimensional, Link's Awakening remake, Super Mario RPG. There's more. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, actually. I don't remember. Did they add any new content to that? I don't remember. But Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, like it was visually like it was a remake. Luigi's Mansion was remade for 3DS. Some people say that's like a demake, but in terms of effort, it's the same kind of like it's the same level of effort, just for a weaker console. This is definitely the next. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying like they have been doing like full remakes. Just this is their most ambitious one, and maybe so ambitious it's not even just like a full remake. It's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Also, why $80?
Think of it $80.
If it is anything like I just said about like an ambitious new direction, yeah, they're gonna treat
Bro,
it like
if it has a wind and ice temple and if it has 3 new dungeons and like side quests and everything's if it's basically a new Zelda game, like entirely, then maybe.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know if they're gonna do it. The big thing is, guys, we gotta see more of the game, right? Well, then we'll have a lot more to discuss. We'll know a lot more about what they're trying to do with the game, and obviously a lot more about how the visuals we saw translate to the rest of the game. Because like one thing, as people talk about the bottom of the well, and we're talking about like age ratings, right? Because it's gonna have a PEGI 12, which yes, so did Twilight Princess, which was T rated. It's just why you can't look at PEGI 12 and assume it's going to be T because you don't know. It could be E10. That's basically for sure. It's either a T or an E10 because it has a PEGI 12. But which by the way makes sense. PEGI 12 is 12 years old. That's in between 10 and teen. So kind of makes sense that would be the in between rating. I do think that the interesting part that I just wanted to briefly mention, and now I'm losing it. I've lost my train of thought. I'm really pissed now that I didn't bring this up with Andres Restart here. And he's going to get a phone call from me tomorrow. I'm like, oh, I remember now. It's fine. It's fine. We can move on and just get Andres Restart's quick thoughts on the next topic so then he can dip out. Because I know he wanted to talk briefly on the Retro Studio stuff. So, Eric.
Appreciate you.
Why don't you get us going on that? You're muted.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
No problem.
Let's see. Okay, you got that banner. Perfect. Okay, so what it says in the notes. What do we think their next project's going to be and why? And what do we think went wrong, if anything, with their last project? For Retro Studios. Andres, what are you thinking?
There's nothing that went wrong with their last project. It went perfectly. What are you talking about? I'm just kidding. So I feel like I'm assuming this topic is related to the recent Doc Trey discoverings.
Not specifically, but it was in the back of my mind when I
because he found two different job postings, one of which he was like, this sounds like it's for Metroid Prime because they were looking for like environmental like artists to work with a emphasis on environmental detail and storytelling, that's kind of like a big focus for Metroid Prime, which makes sense. And you consider the cliffhangers and a lot of the suggestion of story wise from Tanabe. Like it makes sense that they would just start working on Metroid Prime 5. Like it just makes sense. They have the foundation there. Maybe they want to kind of use that to help kind of salvage some of the losses from Metroid Prime 4, if there are even losses, which there probably are. So, there's that. But then there was another job listing where he has transitioned to think that they're working on a 2D game because they're hiring for a 2D artist. But I just kind of think that 3D games still have 2D artists. So, but that's my opinion on that. Of course, they could be working on more than one game at a time. Anyway, I think that, Retro Studios is probably going to work on Metroid Prime 5. There could be something in between that's smaller, potentially. But I think they spent so much time getting the talent, establishing the foundation, modernizing their engine. I think they're just working on Metroid Prime 5. But rumor has it that they are making some shifts to their design for Metroid Prime 5. This is from the Nash Weedle stuff. So, again, rumor, grain of salt, we'll see, right? But it would make sense because after what happened with Metroid Prime 4, you probably would want to kind of shift your direction a little bit with the next one. So, but that's probably a few years away. That's what I think is going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, if they give us the next 2D Donkey Kong Country in between, I wouldn't complain either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
It would be neat to see him do another Donkey Kong Country. I mean, the prior two were successful and got re-released a bunch of times because they're good games, and I guess they really got their mileage out of them. But it is one of those things where, like, clearly they have a team that's going to be doing 3D DK moving forward. I think it's probably sold well enough for them to continue to make more of them. So that's really good news. But don't forget, the bread and butter is the side scrolling. So the last two they made sold too well to not do it again. So will they do it though with Retro Studios, or will they do it with somebody else? I know Kiwi talks, he said, well, they do have everything is set up to work on Metroid Prime 5 because they already have the team from 4 and now they don't have Tanabe over them. So maybe they feel even more relief to do whatever the hell they feel like doing.
They might have a vision.
Yeah. Because there was according to Tanabe, who is now retired from Nintendo, he said that like this was supposed to be the beginning of a new trilogy. But he gave him an outline and now he doesn't get to say anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah. I will say to that too. I think Prime 4 too was also kind of a anomaly in itself, and not in a good way, because they had already spent a lot, and they've already came on record to say, a lot of the decisions that they made were their decisions, but they had already spent a lot of money dealing with Bandai and that not working, and then having to flip around and deal with Retro trying to make up for that. If Retro had that much time to begin with, I think I'm not gonna say it would have turned out totally different, but I do think the money to loss ratio would have been a lot different than what it is now. So I do think if they are working on something else, yeah, Donkey Kong is cool, and like you said, it does sell, especially now that we've kind of gotten a reimagining of uh DK and Buddies because of the Mario movie. So he is relevant to this time and day. Um and I would probably pick Retro to do that if you're going to, make Donkey Kong look a little bit different. But
Yeah. I'm gonna step out now.
Yep.
Sandstorm, I think you're bringing up some great points. But I'm gonna bid you, Alyssa, Eric, Stash, Nate, all a great night. It was a good discussion. I'm gonna
Yeah, you're good, man. Enjoy some food.
Have a good
Good
night.
night, man.
See ya.
Yeah.
But I do think they are focusing more on Metroid Prime because, like you guys said, they kind of have all those pieces in play already. Might as well just start working on the new project.
Maybe I'm just how do I put this? I think if they make Metroid Prime 5, I also don't think it's going to sell well, regardless of what it's reviewed as, regardless of anything, because the last taste of Metroid Prime in people's mouths was 4, and they're not going to give 5 a chance. And by the way, very few people gave 4 a chance. So, the Prime series is such an expensive one to make in the modern age that it just doesn't even make sense to keep making it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Nintendo does whatever they feel like whatever they want to do. Nintendo can throw away money at it because they have the highest profit margin in the industry.
Now, here's a question.
I just don't know what the value is in doing it. Yeah, it's cool to keep Metroid alive, but the game that sold well was Dread, so we should be maybe just focusing on the side-scrolling aspects of Metroid.
Yeah. So here's a question. Because in my mind, a TV show is more viable than a movie, for 2 reasons. One, because at first, maybe people may not or may watch the TV show because they have or have not heard of the game, and talk gets around really fast whether a show is good or not. Thinking of Fallout, those kind of shows. Do you think putting a show or a TV or a movie before dropping a Metroid 5, kind of like how Star Fox has gotten the treatment and like Donkey Kong has gotten the treatment, do you think that helps with sales?
I don't know. It's just Metroid has had a very hard time appealing in general, just as an IP. But it's not because Metroidvanias aren't appealing. We've seen many of them sell very, very well, just not Metroid. And part of that, I think, is price. If they made side-scrolling Metroid and they brought the price down to $40, I think you might start to see a much higher adoption rate. But the problem is Prime. It consistently got less popular the more they made. And now it's basically in the toilet. Can't even sell 1 million on one system. By the way, one of those systems is the fastest selling system in history. The other one is one of the best selling systems in history.
Mm-hmm.
And it can't sell during holidays. Even a 1 million on one platform. We know it sold between 2, sure, over 1 million. It is 1 million seller, but this is a game that at least according to Kiwi Talks and others was over $100 million in budget. Like they didn't make their money back. They lost money on this game.
Yeah.
So, Nintendo usually doesn't care about some of the money losses because they do have so many lower budget games that sell at top prices and sell millions of copies. So they make really good margins. But it is one of those that like they put Prime on the shelf after 3 for a while. They tried Other M. That didn't work out. So they put a whole series on the shelf for a bit. And if they did that with games that, by the way, Other M sold way better than like Other M sales make Prime 4 look even more embarrassing in terms of selling. Like Other M is considered a black sheep.
Mm-hmm.
It outsold Prime 4 by a significant margin. So I think that they need to give up on 3D Metroid. And I hate saying that because I love it. But I just don't think they know what they're doing and know how to make it appeal. And to be fair, I actually think there's a greater problem with this across sci-fi games at the moment, where in the 3D space, outside of the big established ones already, a lot of people are having a hard time cracking the code to get attention in that space. And maybe it's just because the way people want to enjoy sci-fi is just not the way these games do it.
Yeah.
They want to be flying their ships and visiting all these different planets, not walking through corridors and scanning things. Like that's what Metro Prime is, with some cool boss fights in between. And now a desert that you have to buy the amiibo if you want the good music. Sorry, you can beat the game and then you get the good music too. But still, there's another way. It's just, okay, the desert's boring enough and now you're taking my music away? God damn it. Can't even enjoy my motorcycle ride. All right.
I'd be curious what the sales are for other first-person adventure games. Like BioShock comes to mind.
Another franchise that's done.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Because I tend to agree with your outlook about 3D Metroid. Yeah. Now, look, we talked about it before. I mentioned I think it would sell so much better if they did a third-person view.
Mm-hmm.
Over the shoulder. Give it like the Resident Evil 4 type third person, or give it something like Uncharted style third person, open world style. Anything I think would do better than first person. I do think the visor aspect is cool in first person, but again, I brought up last time like RoboCop, the way you use the visor in that game. I think you could go third person by just toggling a button to look at your visor, right? I think there's ways to make that happen, but if you don't do that, stick with 2D, man. It works. It's hard, I think, for Nintendo to really explain that this is supposed to be like a Metroidvania game in 3D. We talked about this back in the day when Prime first came out on GameCube. Everyone was comparing Metroid Prime to Halo. It's like, that's not the comparison, man. These are completely different games. Yeah. But that's how gamers all thought.
And people still do that today.
What's worse today? People are dumber today. It's just that's my belief. It's my belief, man. There's more brain rot today. Let's be real.
Sorry.
That shouldn't be startling to anyone.
The take that's going to be pinned on me tomorrow.
Yep. Hey, man, just lob it all at me. Tell them where they can find me. They can debate me in the comments. I do reply to all the comments still. But that's the thing, man, is like that is an uphill battle to try and explain what our game is. Metroidvania genre, for as long as it's been around, it isn't even recognized by the Game Awards. Yet, how many are How many are added to Steam every year? In the Switch too, and PS5. An insane amount. It's a very popular genre. But like no one's doing that in first person. So how do you explain that?
Mhm.
It's just tough, dude. 2D works really well. And I think we'd all gladly take more 2D.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like we've been overloaded with side-scrolling Metroids. Like we really haven't. We could probably use more of them. And Dread was very well received. It was up for Game of the Year. And yeah, sold a few million copies and became the fastest best-selling Metroid ever. Cool. Let's stick with that.
Yeah.
Let's go with the positive direction for the franchise that is less controversial and just has positivity around it. And Nintendo doesn't have to worry about selling a gazillion copies. That said, it feels weird saying that because I love the 3D Metroids, but it's just kind of like, okay, but it's modern age, and I'm after Prime 4, I'm kind of tired of going on the internet and everyone's just shit talking 3D Metroid. But they kind of have reason, and I'm not really mad at them for doing it because they're not wrong about their complaints. It's just the state of Metroid Prime, like the state of the 3D Metroid. Like it's crazy because I think back to Prime 1, and well, yeah, all these comparisons to Halo that shouldn't be happening because completely different games. Only thing in common is their sci-fi. It was so well received, right? Mm-hmm. At the time, one of the higher selling Metroid games, despite being on GameCube.
Yeah.
Just felt like, GameCube's what's holding this thing back from being more popular. And really high reviews, and everyone who bothered to play it loves it. And now we get to today, and it's like, all right, it's struggling to try to not be in the 70s, which is still fine. But this is an IP that peaked in the 95s.
Yep.
It's a huge fall.
Yeah.
And now people aren't buying it. And they were barely buying it when it was a 95. So
it just sucks. You'd sell so much more if you showed Samus.
I think people like looking at the character. I mean, look at Fortnite. Could have been first person.
Give her the Stellar Blade treatment.
More appealing not being first person.
Give Samus the Stellar Blade treatment. Dude, you'd sell so much more.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way.
Samus Stellar Blade style, baby.
Honestly, I'm not even gonna say just that. If you're gonna give her the Stellar Blade treatment, then you might as well give her the alien treatment and let the suit be the last thing that you get in the whole game.
Explaining why she suddenly got a bubbly ass and realized even more. They start this with a crossover with Bayonetta.
Yeah, I was to say the other one I was gonna say was Bayonetta. Like if you get somewhere.
Bayonetta unlocks Samus's ability to be like, I don't have to wear the armor all the time, and now we just got Ash view the whole time shooting things.
It would sell better.
It was. I mean, it legit was. Look, people already turned every Nintendo female character into a sex symbol. This would be Nintendo literally treating her like a sex symbol. It would sell.
She could do it.
But some interviewer will eventually ask Nintendo a very uncomfortable question. Why are we staring at her ass? And they're not going to want to answer that. See, the Stellar Blade devs are more than willing to be like, we're horny fuckers. We like looking at ass.
I think you got to do something in between. You know what I mean? Like it can't be the focal point. Nintendo will not do that. But
you can't do the exact angles of Stellar Blade in your brain.
But also games just sell better when you can see the character. Like it's such a hard sell to so many people to go play Indiana Jones because everyone expects it to be in third person. They want it to be in third person.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can tell them as someone who played and beat it is that like, I get it. I think that'd be cool too. But when you play it, you have to play it to believe it. Okay.
The vision becomes so clear. Like it is so perfect in first person, but like
it does. Yeah.
But you do, and you hear indie, you're like, this has to be like Uncharted. Like, we got to be third person. It's like, no, you would think, but this is one when you play it, once you experience it, you don't want this in third person. This is what it's supposed to be. You are Indiana fucking Jones.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you could feed both parties because we've seen it done now with other games like Resident Evil. You want first or you want third person? It's up to you. The game's built for both. It's like if you can feed both parties.
Didn't we have this happen already? Wasn't it Other M? They did both in the same game. People hated it.
Oh yeah, I think they hated.
I mean, to be fair, there was a lot more than just that.
Yeah.
I don't know that the idea was bad, but like everyone hated everything else about the game. So, yeah, it's interesting. Look, Nintendo's not going to overly sexualize her, and they're also not going to. I don't think they're going to put her into third person again. After I think Other M scared them from ever attempting it again. Even though Other M also sold 4, but that's what I'm saying. If they were so scared of Other M, then how would they not be making a decision to not make Prime 5 after what 4 did?
They should know though that it's not. It wasn't just the perspective. I mean, they're smart enough to know it wasn't just the third person view. No. They know third person games sell obviously very well. So
yeah, they make a lot of them.
Yeah.
They make probably more of them than anyone else in the industry. They're very well that people like looking at the characters. Well, Mario just won some massive big voting thing worldwide for like the most recognizable mascot.
Mm-hmm.
Samus would be cool to look at too, though.
Characters
with the different suits.
Yeah.
Like people want to see that when you get a new suit. Like we don't want to just see it in a cutscene. You want to be able to see that all the time. And I think that's something we all like too about games like Zelda. When you get a new tunic, right?
Yeah.
Like even like Mina the Hollower, right? When you get new gear and you can actually see it in a game, it's cool.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is, thinking back on the 4 Prime games, maybe this is just me. I don't think those games are worse if they're in third person perspective. You already are technically when you use the morph ball.
I don't think so either.
I don't think they'd be worse. Like I don't think they are necessarily better because they're first person is what I'm trying to say. Like when you play Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, if you actually play it, you will understand why that has to be first person. What they are doing with this game needs to be first person. You can't do it in third person.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel that way with Prime. It kind of feels like, you can do this in third person. Hell, we're already in third person half the game. When you ride the motorcycle in Prime 4, you're in third person. When you're doing the morph ball, you're in third person. When you're on the motorcycle, by the way, you're shooting things in third person. You're already doing it.
Like, I look at Resident Evil Village, and I remember when it got its like DLC a year later. I think it was at least a year later. Capcom said, hey, look, a lot of you have asked for it. We added a third-person mode to the game. And the game obviously continued to sell well after that. And it's like, Capcom can do it. They built the game to be in first person. They built the whole experience around it. And you know how important that is in a horror game where you're trying to build tension?
Mm-hmm.
And you need a certain view? Well, they were able to put third person in there and it worked. Just feel like there's opportunity there. Like if you were to revisit again, like bring in Prime 1 through 3 with Switch 2 editions, I mean, you could literally test it right there. Add third person to them, see how it does. If it does better than you expect it, okay. Next Prime game, we need to have third person mode. It's a good like a testing bed for it, I think.
Yeah.
That's low cost, right? That's low cost. You're just releasing them on Switch 2 with improved resolution and frame rate.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think Nintendo has all the signs to not keep dipping into this well. If they do it again and Retro Studios is making Prime 5, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm gonna be like, all right, Nintendo wants to piss away money for things I like. I'm not gonna be mad. Yeah,
I'll be there.
Yeah, keep making shit I want. If you don't care how much money it makes. Oh, people are tired of open world Zelda. I'm not. Shove it down my throat. Give me more.
What do we call that? It's not anti-consumer. Is that anti-business?
Yeah. Anti-business. They're not doing it for profit. Like they know they're losing money. So if they make Prime 5, it's like, okay, this is the series they clearly don't give two shits about making money on. So why? So what's the reason it exists? Like, is it just Nintendo of America being like, hey, this is our one series starring a female. We can't get rid of it. Like, is it just that? Is that it? You just want to have that diversity in your profile? I don't know. Like,
well, I've talked about it before. I think they have the first game on a console with a lead female protagonist on consoles. I remember like doing some research on it, and it had happened with computer games, but not a lot, especially back then, because Metroid came out in '86. Not going to have female leads really in the '80s, but you could safely say Nintendo was one of the pioneers, and if not the pioneer for consoles. And it's like, well, I mean, that's more important today than it was back in 1986. Let's be real. So that is a big deal when it comes to that kind. I think Nintendo probably cares about that.
Cool. Alyssa, got any thoughts? Are you just like, fuck it?
Well, no, I do care. I think that they're still gonna do 5. I understand that they didn't crack 1 million, but part of me feels like I see what they were trying to do with 4, with it not being as difficult. I only played 1. I haven't played 2 and 3. But the way that it like gears you throughout the game, it's a little more guided, and I think they wanted to use that to try to make the game seem a little less intimidating to newcomers. Nintendo just likes to make fun games. They say that all the time, and I feel like a lot of people that did play it and did like it did have fun. I had fun and enjoyed it. I liked Miles as a character, but I did feel a little bit too much of the hand holding. So if they made that like an option, it would be a little bit better. Maybe they're just doing 2 and 3. I don't know. I don't know that they're really doing Donkey Kong, although with Bonanza being relevant and Mario getting movies now and the rumored DK movie coming, maybe they want to keep Donkey Kong relevant because we're probably not going to get another 3D Donkey Kong for a while. So maybe they're doing 2D to fill in that and get hyped for a Donkey Kong movie in the future.
I think so. Isn't the theme park DK Country? Nintendo Super Nintendo World is DK Country theme.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you absolutely need to get a dedicated Donkey Kong Country SKU on Switch 2 that is not a remake.
Yeah, brand new.
Not what we have right now that we got a free upgrade for that probably most people forgot about. Returns.
It also behooves them to get another side-scrolling one out because we know a Donkey Kong movie's coming.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense to kind of pair marketing together, so and Nintendo's been doing that at times when they can. Obviously, we didn't get a 3D Mario for the Mario movie, but we got a Yoshi game. And
again, who's taking the kids to the movies? The parents. The parents who played what? Donkey Kong Country. This is what we played 30 years ago. Here's the movie. Here's the new game. Let's all experience it together. It's like perfect. Match made in heaven.
Yeah. So that's why I do think one's coming. The question is, are they making Retro do it? I have no idea.
That is the question.
Yeah. Because they can have anyone else do it. They brought 3D Donkey Kong back, right? Using parts of the Mario team. So anything's possible, guys. Anything's possible. I don't really know what direction they're going to go, but it's fun to talk about because, again, there's a lot of unknowns with Nintendo. This is just one of their studios. I actually thought about having a topic one week where we kind of go through all of Nintendo studios and what their last project was, if there's one we know they're currently working on, and then start talking about what we think's coming. Because Nintendo's got a lot of internal studios that haven't done jack shit on Switch 2 yet.
I think that'd be a good exercise to do.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
So
interesting.
It would be needed.
Someone remind me.
I'll remind you. Yeah,
I will probably forget because I just got so much going on. It'll push out of my head, but I'm like, I think this is a really cool topic. I was literally thinking about it the whole time. I'm like, God, this could be expanded into such like a really big Nintendo Studio combo that we've never had, and is relevant with a new generation here. So, okay, Eric, you got any thoughts? I mean, I know you like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, no, give me all the Donkey Kong. I like Donkey Kong.
If this is your preference, it'd be
yeah,
give me DK.
Give me DK. No, I mean, go for new Donkey Kong Country. Why not?
Hell yeah.
I mean,
dude, I would be ecstatic for a new Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
I think Tropical Freeze is one of the best platformers of all time.
Yeah.
It is so good. I want more. It's like criminal that's 12 years ago. Can we get another one?
I mean, well, we re-released it how many times already?
Well, I know.
Yeah, maybe they do need a break from Metroid Prime. They're like, we worked on this for so long. We need a breath of fresh air. Maybe we'll put a pin in this. Maybe we'll come back to it. It just feel like the end to Prime 4 really just set up for more. And I know there's like TV shows and movies that don't get sequels or new seasons because it didn't sell or make enough money. But
yeah, not a viewership.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess I'll just slip into the Q&A right now, see what we got going on over here. If you guys didn't know watching, you can super chat in your questions to be featured on the show and ask the panel different things. It doesn't have to be what we talked about today. It can be really anything. Please keep it appropriate. You get inappropriate, I might not feature. Yeah, we've got and everything. This is not a Nintendo Prime Live. This is the NintenByte Podcast, okay? That said, Tall Show says cost of the 2 terabyte Steam machine is 3 Nintendo Switch 2s.
For you and your friends.
Right.
I mean.
And guess what? You only need to buy one game for all of you to enjoy Mario Kart World. Game share.
I will say, I know some people were laughing that they have like their cheapest model doesn't include a controller. You guys are thinking too much traditional consoles when you're laughing at that. Most PCs don't come with accessories.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
People have mice and keyboard later.
But I mean,
so I'm just throwing out there that it's not a console. I just want people to understand it's a PC.
But aren't they marketing it as a console?
No. They're marketing it as a living room PC.
Fair enough.
But people are treating it like it's a console.
Got it.
But it's technically not. Of course, all consoles are technically just computers anyways.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys already have a controller that probably attaches to the Steam machine anyway. So,
do you own a controller? Is it wireless or wired? Either way, it probably works. It's a PC.
Works.
It's a PC. Guys, every controller works on PC. All of them. It's just
ridiculousness.
It's PC. Yeah, if you guys don't know that it uses everything, you can use your DualSense, your Xbox, your Joy-Con 2s if you want. Those are supported on PC. Now, I don't know if it's supported in SteamOS, to be clear about that part. That's a different thing because it's different.
So many are. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to have an extremely obscure controller for it to not work. One that, maybe it's time to abandon at this point if it doesn't work.
If you're busting out a Logitech controller from 95,
yeah, that's like what I'm thinking, or like a Pelican from back in the day.
Or
Mad Cats.
It might be time to go to Walmart and get the new $5 controller. Okay.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
I think what's even crazier, like what Tall Show said, is, I mean, you could get for $1,100, you can get a PS5 and Switch 2. Now you're covering the spectrum, dude.
Wildness.
I know, but again, yeah, it's not. It really isn't marketed as a console. That's just, I don't know. That's the common misconception that it's a console. It's meant to like bridge PC gaming with console players, though. But it's not a console. But again, the Steam 2 controller, I have it. I love it. That's a real selling point. And so if you get a Steam machine, I think you'd really want to use that controller. But again, they're in such a tough spot too with pricing. It's hard to include that.
Like, as much as it's like, people make fun of the pricing and stuff. You didn't see me do it. I know this is what the shit costs. I'm not going to be making fun of PlayStation for what PS6 costs or what Helix costs. This is a lot different than like some years back when I was like, oh, the PS5 Pro is $750. I don't know about that. Because we were still in the era of when we expected things to get cheaper. That era's gone. And it's not their fault. There's lots of outside factors that aren't about the console makers. So when I look at that, it's just like, yeah, man, I'm not mad at any of this stuff. Like, it sucks, but I've said it for a while that the consoles are a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
People don't like thinking about it like that, but it's like, dude, you're buying a dedicated device to game on when you already have devices you can game on. That is a luxury item. You're buying a device where they're selling the games for $70 when you can just play free to play on your phone. It's a luxury. You don't have to be on the console space has always been the expensive side. I will say Nintendo offered a budget-friendly option for many, many years, the handhelds with $40 games. But even that ended with Switch. So, yeah. Things are just expensive. It sucks.
Yeah.
Tomato Brawler, I told everyone on Twitter to join tonight's show, but I didn't want to lie. So I didn't say it would start at 9 p.m. Instead, I said shortly after.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Yeah, Stash showed up at 8:01 Central. No, it was probably exactly 8 when he clicked in, but it was like a couple seconds and it ticked to 8:01 when I saw him. I was like, hey, Stash, it's late.
I literally recorded a review right before it. I wanted to get it done because I knew after I might not do it until tomorrow. I'm like, I got to get it done so I can edit it.
I figured you were running right up to the edge. I've done that many a time on this show.
Yeah.
All right. Tomato Brawler gifted Thunderstash membership.
Oh, thank you.
And he gifted him another one.
Thank you again.
And then he gifted me one. Thank you so much. But don't worry. Sky Sword Alyssa made sure she's not missing out by gifting her own Channel 5 membership.
Thanks, me.
I've done this before. It's fine. Whatever. So she just didn't want to miss out. She wanted to be part of the gifting fun. Janky Kong. I love the name. Dude, I love the avatar. I just love everything about your username. This is great. All right. I hope everyone who is going to boycott Nintendo over the Switch 2 price will boycott Steam over the Steam Machine price. Keep it 100. For starters, I've talked in the past, like this whole boycott of Switch 2. I don't know how we can call it a real boycott when it's the fastest selling thing ever. That would venture to say there never was a boycott. More so just people bitching online. Most people don't give a fuck. Steam is a platform, first and foremost. It is not hardware, first and foremost. Steam Machine is a branch of Steam. Steam Deck is a branch of Steam, but Steam is an operating system. It is a platform. It is intended for you to spend money and buy games on. That's it. So the Steam Machine could have been $8,000 and Valve's reputation wouldn't be impacted. Because they might sell, a couple million of these, maybe lifetime. They have like 900 million users on Steam. They didn't make this device to make money. People look at this too wrong because you're too used to the way the console space works. That's why I keep reminding people it's not a console. I don't know how many times I have to repeat it, no matter how many times people keep saying it's a console. It's not a console. It is a PC. You can literally load fucking Windows 11 on it if you want. It's allowed. It is a computer. It is not a lockdown ecosystem console. So when you start to realize that, they don't care about making money on it. The whole point of its existence is they're just trying to get their OS in front of more people and hoping that word of mouth will lead to people wanting to use it on their computers over Windows. That's it. That's what they're trying to do. Is it going to work? Well, Steam Machine's probably not going to help it. Not much. Not as much as they thought it would. And I think at this point, for it to work, and there's a high chance of this, Helix has to bomb. Microsoft can't be more successful than their device. Yeah. And I just said, what's their device? 2 million. Yeah. I'm talking about Helix, like not even being able to crack 1 million. Like people just won't buy it. They're just done with Xbox. And I don't think that's going to happen because it's still sold 35 million, the current one. So there's still an audience, at least in the US, that'll buy it in the millions. So of course, we say that before we know what the price of Helix is. Obviously, that can have a huge impact on any sales potential of the system. Yeah, but that's the thing, because Steam is trying to make an operating system that directly competes with Windows for gaming specifically. They're not trying to compete with Windows on everything. They're just trying to be like, gamers, you have a reason to use this over Windows. Windows is trying to say, yeah, we fucked up. We fucked our operating system up. They've been admitting this all year. They've been literally de-AIing their OS because they fucked up, and they know it. And they know that operating systems like Steam is coming. Other Linux distros are getting better. Mac's coming for their throats right now by offering competitive pricing on products. So when they're not in trouble, Microsoft still owns a majority of the PC market. It's like 98% or something between Windows 10 and Windows 11. But that's not the point. The point is you start to slip. The cracks start to show. At one point, Intel owned 99% of the consumer CPU market. They now are actually in the minority, and AMD now owns 65% of the market. Why? You slip and you don't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
People will take advantage. So Microsoft is trying to de-bloat Windows 11 for gamers, because here's the thing, SteamOS is literally just a gaming operating system. That's all it's for. It's not meant to be a workstation, editing videos, that kind of stuff. It is meant to play games. Okay, so let's de-bloat Windows. Let's still let it be what SteamOS is not. We are still Windows, which means you can have your Steam. You can have your Epic Game Store. You can have your Battle.net. You can have all the launchers and all your games.
Mm-hmm.
But, which is an advantage over SteamOS, but now we got rid of all the shit you hated about Windows and actually made this really intuitive to use on a big TV with a controller. They do that. Their Microsoft play is, why would you need SteamOS? Why would you consider it? Just use our gaming version of our OS. Which they'll probably eventually build in the Windows 12 as like a toggle, like turn on. And that's huge, because that's what Microsoft might be thinking now is when they look at Xbox. Yeah, I know they might be selling off the brand and everything, but until then, Microsoft is a massive company, and they're thinking about the big picture. And for corporate, they care a lot about Windows. So since you're putting a PC into the market, the selling point of this for their investors is, hey, we're making a version of Windows that's going to make people not care about SteamOS. Because, yeah, Microsoft has more conversations about this than any of us do, because they worry about the competition in the marketplace. And you got to remember, at one point, Internet Explorer dominated everything, and now it's Chrome. Like, again, you start slipping. Microsoft's experienced this. You start slipping, you don't do anything about it. Look, Xbox might be fucked, but they still have Windows to worry about. And Windows is playing a huge story on Xbox Helix. So we'll see. We're supposed to hear more about the system later this year, and maybe that'll be part of the showcase. Maybe they show a little bit of the OS. We'll see. Is it better than what they put on Xbox Ally? We'll see. No idea. Knowing Microsoft, it's a completely different version because they're disconnected and none of their departments talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like every mega corporation.
It's like NASA over there.
Yeah, it's probably a completely different version. And where's Waldo? Which one's better? I don't know. Now everyone's confused. And there's 17.
You're not allowed to talk to other departments.
Seriously, it's bad. They are a huge company, I get, but whatever. All right. Next one here. Pokemon fan says, put Coliseum on GameCube NSO finally for your birthday. Sure.
Let's go.
Pokemon fan has the same birthday I do. So
Coming soon.
Coming soon. That's right, guys. Only one more episode before my birthday. Just throwing that out there. Demonic Brawler, keeping the tradition alive. I was scared for a moment. I'm like halfway through the super chats, and I'm like, oh shit, is the streak over for bringing back NFL Blitz, NBA Jam, and NHL hits? But so long as Demonic Brawler breathes, we will never miss an episode of begging for these games to come back.
I filled out a survey for Summer Game Fest, and one of the questions was asking what developers, publishers would you have liked to have seen at the event that weren't there? And I listed off the ones that would make sense. EA being one of them, though. And I put EA in there. I said, because I really want to talk to them in person and get the lowdown on why we're not doing anything with the NBA Jam and NFL Blitz license. I really want to talk to someone. I want to face.
No one's asking them the deep questions.
Yeah, I want to face to face, and I want to ask them that. I want to get the lowdown. I want to know why. So maybe next year.
You can always hope. Maybe EA will do another Days of Play event like they used to do before, even though those events. Eric and I went to one.
I've gone to two.
They weren't that good.
No.
They were very disorganized.
Yeah.
But they should have just stayed as part of E3. It was way better when EA was actually at E3. Pluto Dojo. So many characters. I can't wait to see the Zelda Ocarina of Time remake, like Dampé, Dr. Mizumi, the Bean Seller, the Carpenters, so many more. What NPC are you all most hyped to see in the Ocarina of Time remake? Oh, what are their names? Hold on. I'm mad that I don't remember their names right now.
Happy Mask Salesman.
That's a good one.
Just trying to think real quick. It's hard.
It's so great. Hold on,
I mean, Dampé is a really good one. They already said that.
I forget their names. Yeah, okay. So I was gonna say Ingo and Talon, because they're based off Mario and Luigi.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hyper realistic Mario and Luigi. I just gotta see it. I gotta see these Mario and Luigi's and realistic graphics. I gotta see it.
I'd be interested to see how all the ladies in Link's life look.
especially that hottie twin Rova. I mean, wait, how old is she?
Wait, twin Rova. That's where we're going, dude.
She's legal. That's what matters.
We can count the fairies too as ladies in Link's life. Yeah, I want to see just how all the ladies look.
Yeah, how far do they go?
Interesting. Yeah, how far do they go? The great Deku tree and the sages as well. It'd be interesting. I really the Deku tree though. I want to see what he looks like.
How realistic is that great fairy?
I actually want to see if Roru's stash outstashes stash.
They put jiggle physics on the fairies. This is important. It's very
important. Kapora Gabora.
It's for science.
I love Kapora Gabora.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that's one of my favorites.
That owl's gonna look badass because owls look badass.
Yeah, owls are just so cool. So I'm interested to see that.
Yeah, Kapora Gabora gonna look fucking awesome.
I love the character, the interactions.
As the whole chat says, how about just any of the Gerudo women?
That's fair.
Look, this guys, we're all worried about the Bomber of the Well making a T for team. We should be worried about the Great Fairies and the Gerudo women.
Yeah, that's fair. They put extra clothes on one. Actually, she ends up putting on armor. I don't know if I'm spoiling a game, but
about the spoilers on a podcast for like a 30-year-old game. Come on.
She becomes one of my favorite untapped enemies in Iron Knuckle.
Untapped. She does. All right. That was a good question. I like that one. Happy Mass Salesman especially is cool because you figure it's coming. So that's gonna be a carryover one.
Foreshadowing for sure.
I also would like to see Happy Mask Salesman expanded a little bit in here because Majora's Mask is a thing.
Absolutely.
Because they didn't know Majora's Mask would be a thing at that time.
Mhm.
So now you could really expand on that character in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
He's actually so he's the only other person I feel like can make it through the woods without turning. And I'm trying to figure out how that works because unless Link really is dead, he's the only one who gets through the Kokori forest.
Because
He's a
they-
mystical guy.
Because as we see in this game, he has Majora's Mask already.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You walk into a shop and
He
all of a
is
sudden
an enigma.
the wall, and we're like, holy shit. They added Majora's Mask into Ocarina of Time. Okay.
That'd be
I
sick.
know this is probably, we're not going to see it do anything. But what if we do?
Yeah. And
What if we see the mask salesman himself use that fucking mask? I want to see it so bad. I want to see what happens. Anyways, then again, can you imagine if Ganondorf, that's the twist, Ganondorf gets his hand on Majora's Mask.
he gets his hand on one of the masks. That's what it is.
Shit. Dude. Yo, you know what's going to be so... Dude, please don't fuck it up because Majora's Mask is clearly going to happen one day.
Mhm.
Can you imagine the transformations and the swimming?
That's what I've been saying.
Oh my
I've been
God.
saying that.
It's going to be so... They might fuck it up.
The
But
water effects will be insane.
I'm interested to see the water.
Oh, Stash is ready to go to the fishing hole right away. He's got to see it.
Oh, dude, they better add more fish, pretty fish. All
Yeah,
the
they
fish.
can expand the fish.
Yeah.
Easily. You know? Expand the poles, expand that whole thing. There's so much they can do. Yeah, all right, Sandstorm. Stop extending your pole. Time to put it away. We're not fishing today.
I'll keep my lunker in.
So Reaper BM 702 comes in and says, why do you guys keep assuming day and date? You know what else was supposed to be day and date? Borderlands 4, 007, Lego Batman. Stop assuming. Well,
Day and date on what?
It's not really an assumption. It's been said until it's retracted. That's different.
What are we referring to here?
yeah, well, as an
Game's
example,
coming to Switch 2.
like as an example, Reaper, they announced Call of Duty is coming to Switch 2. Well, until they tell us otherwise, you assume it's the same time as everyone else.
Yeah.
Like you follow the direction of the companies announcing the games.
Yeah.
If they announce a game and they announce it as a platform, if they didn't tell you it's coming at a different time, then you shouldn't assume that. Because you can bring up these examples and then I could just rattle off even more games that are day and date. So like that's the point. Like you can't assume one way or the other because we don't know. You just work with the currently known information. And the known information, you might say, is well, you don't know if it's day and date. No. But you can't assume it's not.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, though, going forward too, all these games are going to now be developed alongside for Switch 2 alongside of everything else.
Yeah.
Not just a, all of a sudden, oh shit, Switch 2's coming. Now we need to start developing on that, even though we've maybe been developing already for PS5 and Xbox for, a half a year already.
Yeah.
It's kind of a added on thing at the end of it.
The deeper into the generation,
Right.
the more you should expect day and date.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not ports either. Like they'll be, like Eric said, they'll be working on a actual version for the system, just like Resident Evil 9. Somebody's working alongside to make that game.
They may have made that comment based on something I said and taking it out of context, which I talked about Square Enix in Japan.
No,
and how previously Nintendo wasn't getting the Square Enix games, which speak to the Japanese market, but now they are, and they're getting them day and date. And I did say that day and date, and that is true. That's factual. So, I mean, if that's what you're talking about, I'm spitting facts over here. I'm not talking about Borderlands 4, 007, or Lego Batman. I said Square Enix. Crystal clear.
It was funny when he did bring up those games because I'm like, I don't think we mentioned those games.
No,
today.
it was. I remember listening back and people saying day and date quite a bit during, I can't remember which discussion, but yeah.
Which topic was it?
It was
it was when we were talking about the Steam machine and everything, and Switch being the entry level, and that we were getting games day and date. But still that's not false. Kingdom Hearts 4 was already stated that it's coming day and date.
I mean, they announced it in a direct.
Yeah.
Or showed it in the direct.
Onimusha coming day and date. So it's not like we're assuming. A lot of the games that are coming have already been announced that they were going to be day and date. And the ones that aren't, like Prime said, you just can't automatically be like, oh, Call of Duty is coming for everybody else but us day and date, because they haven't said otherwise. So you just, I don't know. Maybe it's new for Nintendo users, but I just automatically assume if a game is coming out, it's coming out everywhere at the same time.
Okay. Moving on. The Polito Dojo said, I might still be sick, but I can't afford to miss some Ocarina of Time remake talk.
Hell yeah. Feel better.
Hope you're feeling better.
feel better.
Hopefully you're asleep right now and you'll hear this
Right.
later. But yeah, thanks so much, man. Zoo was here for a moment. He'll be on a episode in the next few months. Says, looking forward to Star Fox. I love the arcade roots of this game. Multiple paths, challenges, etc. Like Yoshi, great game to break up Xenoblade X with. Oh, yeah,
Sure.
It's nothing like Xenoblade. Any of them. So yes, it is definitely a pace changer. Of course, you can argue Star Fox is a pace changer for almost everything. It's like a 2-hour game.
Yeah, it is.
And it is interesting the people I see talking about the 2-hourness of it today and like debating, if it's worth the $50, because a lot of the people saying this are the people that bought it for $60, and actually it was like $80 actually originally back on the N64, and it was also a 2-hour game.
I mean,
So, like,
but it
I don't-
has online multi.
they're only charging $50 this time, so they're charging you less for the same game. I don't know. It reviewed right. It's in the low 80s, so I don't know. We'll just see. Well, I haven't
That's
played it yet.
damn good for a on-rail shooter.
Yeah.
Yep, outside of the demo, I haven't played yet. So we will have our review discussion coming next week on that game. So we always do that the week after a Nintendo game comes out, so we have some time to play it, because duh. That's why I know it feels weird on the eve of games coming out that we oftentimes don't talk about the games, but that's what it's like. We're about to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Conversation's irrelevant the moment I play it. So I don't want to have an irrelevant conversation within 24 hours. Not of the game, anyways, especially when we're going to be doing a review. True Dude says, all right, but will Link in Smash 6 be based on the Wild era, back to Ocarina of Time design, or a new 3D Zelda? If I had to guess the Wild era.
No.
Because it's the most popular era of Zelda ever now. And they've never had that in Smash.
Yeah.
I
And-
think they had a costume.
They kind of play it safe anyway by giving you Young Link as the Ocarina of Time slash.
I don't think Young Link's going anywhere.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
think they just have multiple links like they already do.
They updated Young Link's design to match the remake.
Yeah, I could see that. More. So.
That's I mean, here's the thing. Smash, one of the things people don't really talk about, what they could do to reinvigorate Smash, is so many of these characters haven't changed
Mhm.
in a long time. Yet they're part of these deep, long-running IPs. So that's one way to really freshen it up. Mario plays completely different.
Yeah, I was gonna say even
Smash-
Mario looking
Mario
like
needs
the
something.
movie Mario, that would be sweet.
Yeah. It's like even just that. Like, so there's actually quite a bit they could do just because the main roster hasn't been updated in a while.
It's called, next one's called Smash Oops, where it's all Mario, all Zelda, all
Well, you think
kind of like Oops, all Crunchberries.
Oh, it's kind of funny because you think about like adult Link in the game, right? Like he was originally the Ocarina of Time design, and then the Twilight Princess design, and then they just stopped updating him.
Yeah.
No, he has Wild's Arrow design now.
He
He
does, he
uses
does.
the detonating bomb and stuff.
Yes, he does. I know he does.
Okay.
I was just pointing out that I think it's needs a complete overhaul
Yeah.
to be something fresh. Because that wild design thing they did it looks nice. And I'll leave it at that. I don't like the way it plays at all.
Yeah,
I don't like the way it plays either.
Looks nice. Thanks. Probably be cool on an amiibo if you made one that looked like that.
Yeah.
Dane says, hope those digital GTA 6 pre-orders don't sell out. I mean, look, the code in the box ones will probably sell out day one. It's kind of ridiculous. Especially if it's a standard version. Like, I guess you're just buying it because you want the box art.
So I kind of gauge my regular consumers by some of my friends who are a little less game savvy, I would say. And one of my buddies, best friend of mine, he's part of what I call the upper echelon. He hit me up and was like, GTA pre-orders are going up. And I'm like, yeah, they're going up tonight. He's like, oh, you picking one up? And I was like, absolutely not. And he's like, why? I was like, well, for one, it's $80, and I'm not about to pay $80 for a code in a box. He's like, code in a box. So I explained that, and then he was like, oh, okay. I mean, that's not really that bad. And I'm thinking like, are you serious, bro? But I mean, to a general consumer, maybe that's really not that big of a problem. So I'm like,
Yeah, to the average consumer, it's not. They don't care.
no. So as much as I hate it, Rockstar don't care about how I hate it. They care about Buddy who's gonna pick up a code in the box times 58 million, you know?
I'm just gonna call it what it is. It's a digital only game. It is
Yeah.
what I'm not surprised. I know some people would prefer if it was just like a fake blank disc, aka a game key card.
Right.
And I get that for resale purposes. But the game can't fit on the disc. I'm gonna tell you right now, we don't know the size of this game yet, but it might be one of the largest video game file sizes we've ever seen.
Yeah, they're charging you rent. They're charging you. I like
You're always gonna need internet to play the single player in this game.
Yeah.
There was not gonna be any situation where that was gonna be remotely possible. They're not selling you, a hard drive that you're gonna need to store this game on. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
They sold you a game you can't sell back unless it's still wrapped. And maybe even then, maybe not possible. If something happens to your system, that game is just bricked on that system. And even if you need another account, you got to pay another $80 for it. It's ouch. But you want to play Grand Theft Auto 6? You're going to play Grand Theft Auto 6.
Talshow says to debut your new chatty friend on the podcast. No. Blind app. Steam Machine is dead on arrival. Steam calls it a console. They sure do. Now read the fine print on their own website. They define it as a PC living room console. All it means is it's just like a pre-built device. That's all it means. Other pre-built PCs have called themselves consoles too. All right. Daniel Alvarez says GTA 6 will be a key card on Switch 2. No code in a box. GTA 6 needs to be announced for Switch 2. And I guarantee it'll be a code in the box. They are not going to give you a game key card. If they didn't give you a disc, they're not going to give you a more expensive option and take less money. You realize the key card costs them more than a disc. If they weren't willing to give you a disc to maximize profits, you think they're going to spend more money to give you a blank cartridge? GTA 6, if it even comes to Switch 2, might not even come in a box. You might not get a code in a box. It literally might just be on the eShop. And it will sell millions. And they won't care. Because they know their audience. Yes, I remember Rockstar, they know how to make lots of money. So,
yep.
And they're, to be fair, they're one of the few people that studios, I will say, the game quality in general deserves the success they have. Week to Manual 7. After Arkham 10 remake and the inevitable Majora's Mask remake, do you think we'll get a Mario 64 remake?
I do.
Ooh, see, Sandstorm disagrees. So hold on.
I don't think so.
Hold on. You two go at it. What's going on? Stash, make your point. Why do you think it's going to happen?
Because I can feel it.
He's usually right.
His gut feelings are right so
Generally,
often.
I base everything on that. I really can. I feel like the buck's not going to stop with Star Fox and Ocarina of Time. I think Mario 64 is going to get in on the action as well. I just do. I feel it.
I thought you said when the buck stopped. I meant when Giannis got traded to the Heat.
No, I wasn't poking it.
Ouch.
Nah, man.
Chihuahua.
I'm laughing at myself right now. I'm the Buck fan. That's going to be the saddest about it. But it's okay.
And I was wondering if you talked to Andres about it since it's traded to his team.
We had a brief conversation, but it was mostly me just asking him some questions about Hero because I haven't watched a lot of them.
Well, yeah, you got 11 now on your team.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Anyway.
I'm really excited to see them play this year, though. There's something nice about the youth movement and having a coach who's done it before. The youth movement. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We got a lot of 19 and 20-year-olds playing for the Bucks this year. It's crazy. My daughter's 15. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I'm getting old. Fuck.
We got a lot of young guys on our team too, and then we just, of course, drafted Koa Pete, which I was extremely excited about.
I thought you were gonna like that pick. Yeah.
My cousin asked me yesterday. He's like, "You think the Suns are gonna do anything in the draft?" I said, "I've been very busy. I've heard nothing. All sports radio has been doing is talking about Arizona Cardinals shit, which I don't care to hear about it nonstop."
I live in Arizona, guys, just so you're aware.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I don't want to hear about that. But I was like, I said, if we were to do anything, I would be so happy if we somehow traded up in the draft and somehow Koa Pete landed in our lap. And then it happened. I was like, holy shit. So he's an Arizona native. It's really cool.
There you go. Wintermantle 7 says that GTA 6 on Switch 2 definitively not happening. Or definitely not happening. Well, there's no definite.
Right.
We don't know.
It all has to come down to conversations between Rockstar and
I don't know.
Nintendo.
I don't think anyone on this panel knows. Because, as Kiwi Talks has explained, things at Rockstar are massively locked down at the moment. They are Fort Knoxing information. So, here's the thing. I think it's going to come to Switch 2 someday. I've been very consistent about this. I think it almost has to come to Switch 2 someday. Because unlike last time when it came out, Nintendo is now the more relevant platform than Xbox. And you want to keep those sales that you got last time going. You want to get that 200 million again, which means it's going to be a 10, 15, 20-year game, however long you guys have this through multiple generations. Well, then you got to be on the other popular platform.
Facts.
Can't ignore that. And you know this because you've already been putting your older games on that platform because you know it's time to be there. Now, the problem is it won't be day and date. And I say problem, it's not really a problem. It's just, unfortunate. This game's been in development a very long time. They did not have the dev kits long enough to even remotely consider getting this game out day one. If it got out day one, then they found some voodoo magic in Switch 2 that we're not aware of right now. If they would have got it out on day one. But I do think it might launch alongside the PC version a year or two later. And that's when they're going to get those double dip sales. So, yeah, I think it's going to come to Switch too. But is it for sure going to come? Nah, it's just my thoughts. I think it will, but I don't know.
For the record, I still believe it's coming to Switch too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Then I love PS5 out there. You know that they know that this is a system seller for their system. So they got to remind everyone in their ads. This game's best.
The alignment's already there.
Best on PlayStation. Dude, they updated the PlayStation app logo.
I saw that.
It's got GTA 6 shit in the background. And I'm like,
they're in full alignment. Hey, I don't blame them.
They're trying to
you
treat
can't
it
blame
like
them, right?
They're treating it like it's a first party game, but it's going to sell best on PlayStation.
They know it's going to crush Xbox, and that like essentially
it's
this
almost
is
like
our game
holiday, basically. But to be fair, I will say this: for those that have to have it day one, there is a chance of residual sales at the store if they go to buy a PlayStation if they don't have one and it's sold out. Then they glance and see the Xbox, and it happens to be a store that didn't get rid of physical copies of Xbox games, and you happen to see the GTA 6 Xbox game on the shelf. It's stupid, but it could lead to them being like, you know what? I could buy a Series S instead of spending $650. Fuck it. So but when people talk about GTA 6, I'm going to Switch 2, the number one argument for it is it's on Xbox Series S.
And didn't they just say, that it's going to have 2 graphics modes? It's going to have a performance and quality mode.
I think so. In their screen, they did a dump today for the pre-orders,
which gives me as well like more confidence that if we're going to have a quality and performance mode, that like the performance mode could be the only mode for Switch 2, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And it's still got to run for Series S, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, like it's at this point in time, I wholeheartedly believe anything that runs on Series S is capable of running on Switch 2. So
that was the biggest assist Xbox could give to Nintendo was the Series S.
They just didn't know it at the time.
They didn't know it.
It's going to hold back gaming, and now we're like, actually, thanks.
Right.
You know what, Xbox, you might be on the way out, but thanks. Thanks for the Tabby Cat Games gifted Thunderstash a membership.
Thank you.
She will also be on the podcast in the future coming up. And Winter Man 07 says, could GTA 5 and maybe even 4 come too?
4?
I hope not.
Like never gets any love. Like as far as releasing and we got the original 3 in the remaster. GTA 5 still going. GTA 4 just like never, I don't know, it never appears anywhere playable, like outside of where it released.
It doesn't have an online multiplayer either, does it?
No, that's sort of a 5.
Yeah. Because like even Red Dead, even the first, well, not the first Red Dead, but Red Dead Redemption even has online multiplayer. So maybe they aren't.
There were rumors though of the remake, right? GTA 4 being remade.
Yeah. They just weren't
so maybe that's why.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally don't think we're going to see 4. I don't know why. They've been really weird with 4 for a very long time. I don't know. Maybe the current management there just didn't like that GTA. That's like the black sheep to them for some reason. I have no idea. But in terms of GTA 5, obviously GTA 5 could be on Switch too. It could have ran on Switch, for crying out loud. We know this. But the only thing they care about with GTA 5 is the online mode. Here's the problem. They're trying to get everyone to move the GTA 6s online. So I just don't see them being like, yeah, let's go throw 5 at Switch 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the answer is no to both. And it's more likely we see a commitment from GTA 6 because their focus is on the next 20 years of GTA, which might just be 6. So, which is also really exciting if you like Rockstar Games because now they're going to go off and make other shit. And that's really exciting.
Bully.
Bully too, yeah. I'd love to see a new Bully game. Be
Yeah.
sick.
Table tennis. Bring it all back, man.
Yeah. They make good shit.
They do.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the NintenByte Podcast. Let's go around the room. Let people know what we got going on, where they can find us. Obviously, I want to make sure we shout out Andres Restart. Thank you so much, buddy. You came in today as a replacement for the Birdman. So thank you so much, Andres, for that. You can go check out his content. He does daily content, covers news, but also does a lot of speculating and theorizing on future Nintendo games and stuff like that. So it's really fun. If you liked his conversation on the show, you'll love his YouTube channel. It's a lot of that kind of stuff. That being said, let's get to our other guests. First off, the one who is dressed like Link, Sky Sword Alyssa, who's been reborn.
I have been reborn. I stream games here on YouTube, Sky Swords Alyssa. Tomorrow I'll be doing Star Fox. So if anyone in chat or I know we're all super busy, but if any of you guys have any free time and you want to pop in, play some Star Fox, that'd be really cool. No pressure though. I want to check out the game chat thing too, but I'll probably just do like an hour-ish of campaign, maybe not even that long, and then switch to multiplayer. Because I'm personally more excited for the multiplayer to play with other people. Friday, I'm hopefully finishing Resident Evil 9. I wasn't planning to play through the whole game, but I managed to do so. I did make a couple shorts from the last Nintendo Direct reacting to 2 games specifically. One you guys could probably guess, Ocarina of Time Reborn. The other game I was super excited for was Switch Sports Resort.
Hey.
I honestly I say low key in my short, but my brain was just going so fast. I'm like, that was not a low key reaction. I was very, very excited. I have been waiting for that. So definitely recommend checking those out because I think they're pretty crazy.
Which
and I will
sport
be
are you most excited for?
the plane. And I really hope that they have the iCards again because that was so much fun just flying around the whole island, picking up the little cards and learning about the areas on the island. I love that. I love that they added skateboarding. And I'm actually pro thumb wrestling. I love the wackiness. And I was just kind of just like, what the hell's happening? Like, this is great. I love when they do crazy stuff. It is a little sad that they cut out the sword fighting. And there was one other one that I can't think of off the top of my head, but definitely excited for the plane and archery. Archery was another one that I really enjoyed a lot. So thanks for having me on again, you guys. Appreciate it.
No problem. Then we got the Deacon Sandstorm McDowell.
Hey. Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Sandstorm McDowell as well. On here, the Sandstorm Show Rebirth, as you guys see. We stream every Saturday at 7:00, unless I'm a parent, so sometimes daddy life be daddying, so we move it to a different time on the same day. But usually at 7:00 on Saturdays, we talk about the gaming and the business moves that these companies make. Love talking about that kind of stuff. We also talk about mental health in relation to faith as well too. So if you guys are going through anything, whether you're religious or not, we definitely will pray over you. On the Twitter side, you can find me handling trolls all the time and fanboys. I love doing that. I love trolling fanboys. It gets to be really funny. Shout outs to Risky and all the other people. And you can also find me on the Winging It podcast on Sunday at 7:00 as well, with Jay, Shadow Fox, Action Jack, and Andre, the game idea guy. And shout outs to Vicky too, because I'm sure she would kill me if I didn't shout her out.
Love that name, Andre.
Andre, the game idea guy. Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on again. Love chatting with you guys, having conversations about gaming. This is a rare opportunity for me because the rest of my friends and family are a lot less gaming knowledge. So it's more of teaching than actually having conversation. So yeah, thank you.
No problem, man. Eric.
Yeah. You can find me here and then our clips channel and our audio version.
There you go.
That's all I got.
There you go. Stash.
Okay, guys, lots of stuff I'm working on. This is what I've done since we last met. Okay. Transylvania Adventure of Simon Quest. Put out a video on that, played the brand new demo. There was a demo that was on there. This new demo is with the updated game engine, which is the final engine they're going to be using in the game. So check that out. I got my Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis video, new one up. I had my original up. Amazon Games sent me a text message, my phone. So I'm sure you guys can imagine kind of like gasp when I saw that, like, why are they texting me? Oh my God. So long story short, got a copyright strike. Then they took it down, the video. They got rid of my copyright strike because we talked it out, put up a new video. So that's what's up now. No longer is my 40 minutes of gameplay up. And that was to no one's fault because I was a walk-on to play this game. I didn't get any of the information before that says you can't do this or that. And so that's why we were able to figure things out together. So Amazon's they're not the bad guy. Check out my review for the Drifter. Also check out GameBird's review for the Drifter. It was funny. He sent me a message. He's like, have you seen this game yet? This was like a week and a half ago. I said, so funny. I emailed the creators last night to get a review copy. And so he's like, that's hilarious because he had just done the same thing the next day. So we both reviewed that, switched to 120 frames per second. Mouse mode.
Here we go
another
again.
120 FPS game. Sonic Pico Park. Played that at Summer Game Fest. It's the new 8-bit Sonic game that is up to 4 players. Played it with 3 other members of the press. And I think it's very amusing because you have to work together, and I don't know these people. But someone's got to you have to communicate with each other. So it was very interesting. It was like a social experiment too. And then Trine 6 Together in Time, played that at Nintendo's booth. You could say at Summer Game Fest. Just posted that today. And then the things I got coming up, Adventures of Elliot, getting close to putting a wrap on that. Star Fox tomorrow. Devil May Cry 5 coming up. Sonic Frontiers coming up. And then tomorrow I'm posting my review for the Necromancer's Tale. Have you guys heard of this game? You know anything about it? Did very, very well on PC. It's a CRPG. So, you might be interested in that, but
I like CRPGs.
I figured you do. So obviously it has a mouse mode, but that was what I was recording right before this. And then Monopoly Star Wars Villains will be coming out. All that will be coming out before our next meeting. And then I'm not going to go into all the details because I've already been talking too much, but there's more coming for Summer Game Fest of games that I played and haven't put out a video yet on. There's a lot more. So check it out. Thunderstash Gaming.
All right. Let's see here. Well, I'm Nintendo Prime. Before I sign out, guys, just got a couple more things to slap up here. We have gifted memberships from Tabby for Nintendo Prime and Sky Sword Alyssa. So I want to make sure
Thank you, Tabby.
that shout out from Tabby. And then it's at the backlog. It says, could you all end the podcast with a rendition of I Don't Want to Wait from Dawson's Creek? Thanks in advance. So while I am aware of I Don't Want to Wait, I have never listened to it all the way through one time because I didn't watch Dawson's Creek.
Great.
I didn't either.
I'm like aware of the tune because it was such a popular like show, but I literally never listened to it.
Is that the I don't want away?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the only part I know.
That's all I know. That's all I know too. I was gonna say the same thing.
Sandstorm
Yeah.
got you. Attack the backlog.
There you go. You gave Attack the Backlog a little bit of what you want.
Yeah, I didn't watch that. Like, to me, and hey, no offense for anyone who likes it, but when I was growing up,
ATB, take offense.
yeah, well, when I was growing up, again, I'm older, I'm 41. That was a chick show.
Yep.
You ain't watching that, right?
Yeah, not
No.
for you.
No,
Not
I'm
for
not
you at
watching
the
that.
time.
Yeah.
I'd rather-
Michaela watches it sometimes, and
Movies back on TV.
I tune out, dude, because
Yeah,
still
man.
today, I'm like, I ain't watching that shit. It's a chick show.
I'm watching Hercules. Out of here.
Okay, Hercules and
What,
Oh, yeah.
Xena?
and there you go.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey,
we're-
you know what's funny?
it's supposed to be a badass thing, dude. For like, it's supposed to be a badass chick for women to watch. And my dude, everyone I know watching that show was a guy. Just throwing
Oh,
that
yeah,
out.
dude. Yeah. She showed some skin for sure.
Yeah.
She
This
did.
is like pre how the internet is
To be
today.
fair, I will say this, guys. If you go back and watch Xena Warrior Princess, it looks so tame compared to what people do today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
oh,
back
yeah.
then, it was a tease. It was nonstop every episode.
Yeah, it was, man. Yep. And we were there for it.
You know what? But you know, this is even the better part. We were there for it, and then what happened? We grew up. We became adults, and then she went and joined the Spartacus show.
Yeah.
So you can get your final payoff after all the years.
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah,
Damn, I feel like I missed out on something here.
the Spartacus show is very good, by the way. If you haven't seen it. Very, very good. Just in general, as like a show, like it's a really fucking good show.
What was it on? Was it on network TV
It
or?
was ours. I think it was
Oh,
original.
perfect. So you can show some more skin. That's why I
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of skin shown.
There's a lot of skin.
There's quite a lot. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
for those who grew up with Xena Warrior Princess, if you ever wanted a payoff with Lucy Lawless, watch Spartacus.
Oh yeah, she looks good.
Yeah, you get the full pay. You get the full payoff of what you were.
The full
watching.
payoff.
Oh yes. Just-
Okay. Okay. That was a big deal back then because, like, again, I'm not going to get into details, but the internet back then is not the way it is today, and I'll just like leave it at
not
that.
at all. Not at all. No.
This is how it was. This is how you saw some of these ladies, right? You couldn't go to a website, man. You had to hope you caught
Yeah.
the TV show at the right time.
Yeah. And see, Smash can easily go like, oh, let me just look up nude scene Spartacus and then find Lucy Lawless and then not have to actually watch the show. But it's better when you watch the show because then you get a connection to the character.
I didn't do that. My search engines.
That being said, when I was a teenager, I didn't give two fucks when I was a teenager.
No, not into that.
But as an adult now, I'm like, okay, I don't really care about the titillization as much.
But we did back then. We knew
But as
the
a
movies.
teenager, so when I watched Spartacus, which by the way, predated me being with Yulia, it was a very nice payoff from my childhood.
Yeah. Good old days.
Yep. All right, guys. That's gonna do it for the NintenByte Podcast, Season 3, Episode 59. Is that how you wanted the show to end?
I was waiting for, we didn't talk about boobs yet. I was like, I'm
Think
on.
about it.
What's the boobs gonna talk? We talked about the ass, but we didn't talk about the boobs.
all of this off of Dawson's Creek. I just want
Dawson's
Thank you,
Creek.
Attack the
here off
Backlog.
Dawson's
You
Creek.
made the shriek.
To be
continue.
fair, Cody said I actually just pinned the message, but he did ask if we're
Oh, the
talking about
Titanic. Titanic.
Titanic. Yep. He did get brought up.
Spartacus is the ultimate Titanic show. It's pretty much straight nudity the entire every season, every episode. But it, like, I don't. It makes sense. You got to watch it. It makes sense for what they're doing. But, yeah, it's a very titillating show. That is for sure. Must be inspired by Titanic. Because again, that was a big deal back in the 90s because you didn't see tits in major motion films. That was like not a
No.
thing.
No.
Huge
No.
deal when that nude scene happened. In
Showgirls.
Titanic. Showgirls.
Was a
But
big
that was
deal.
when, yeah, Showgirls was a huge deal. Lots of
Jesse
backlash.
Spano,
Yeah.
Elizabeth Berkley. And then
Most
striptease,
ridiculous.
of course.
One of the most ridiculous pool sex scenes of all time.
To
the so unrealistic.
That's the only time though, like when you saw anything.
Yeah. Yeah,
Outside of that, it
was
was
the payoff from Saved by the Bell with Showgirls.
yeah, outside of that, you gotta hope you like see a hot chick at the mall.
Back then, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes you would. It happens. The hot chicks
yeah.
exist.
Yeah, you do, but like you still gotta go to the mall and like scope it out.
Yeah. Scope out the scene.
Like that's what you literally did. Fun. See,
Yeah.
finding hot girls at the mall.
I mean, if you would have went with me back in the day, you would have met Fanny Pack Boy.
Oh,
Eric was famous for standing in the middle of the mall cafeteria with his hands on his side like this, with a fucking giant fanny pack in front of him. And me and my girlfriend at the time would just look at him and be like, all right, Fanny Pack Boy. I ho silver. Away.
Dude, fanny packs were awesome.
Dude, he rocked the fanny pack everywhere. He was the only person I knew that did it. My dad did it, but only on vacations. We live in this area, and he's wearing a fanny pack to the store. I fucking loved it. And the thing is, people make fun of him. Women are bringing bags to stores all the time. Why can't a man?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I always
I
thought
just want some more pocket space.
fanny packs were cool, like when they came out.
Well, now that's how you.
And I was kind of annoyed that they fell out of coolness. I love the slap bracelets back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Slap
They-
bracelets
Well,
were
there
cool.
was so much cool stuff back in there. There was a lot of personality.
And lots of bright colors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, you guys,
Neons, man.
colors today. Go back to the 90s, man. Dude, we had bright colors everywhere. It was
90s
It's
awesome.
the best.
It was awesome. All you gotta do is go look at old McDonald's toys from back then. That gives you a nice look into what culture was like.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We'll catch you same time next week, which is a new
Good
month,
one.
July. Bye. See you then.
Peace.
Nice.